Hello, welcome to episode 34. We're back again. We've actually managed to record within a month of the last one rather than 3.
It's under a month, well under a month.
Well under a month, bloody hell, we're actually recording at some kind of rate and not. So
we only postponed this by one day as well.
Yeah, and we booked in the next recording session.
We've done that before.
Yeah, but you promised me drink at the next one, so I'm more likely to turn up then.
You might not want it if it's that beer that I've been brewing.
I know, yeah, you have got a ton of beer brewing in the cupboard, and it just seems to get bigger. And every time I come around, you got to put more sugar in it.
You have to...
The last time I drank homebrewed cider, I was about 14, and I didn't get drunk. I got massively high off the sugar because it was basically a litre of sugar and a bit of fruit juice.
I haven't put that much in.
it was just what happens when you brew cider.
A litre of fruit juice.
It's basically when you brew cider when you're 14, it's bound to go right, isn't it?
I don't know, I never made my own cider.
It was called Juan's Brew as well. Juan, don't know why, just Juan's Brew.
Did you make that up?
No, it was a mate's brother. Just turned up with a bottle. He gave me a 2-litre bottle of Coke where he just...
Your mate's brother was called Juan?
No, his name's Ian. It's not even close, He'd literally rip the label off, and where you get like the leftover white sticky bit when you pull off a label off like a Coke bottle, and he'd just written Juan's Brew down it, and I was like...
I'd be very, very, very cautious drinking anything from a dodgy bottle from a teenager's bedroom. With
I drank the whole 2 litres.
Written on the side of it.
I drank the whole 2 litres. I have no idea what happened for the next 3 weeks.
Ooh.
So yeah, we've started straight on topic as always.
As always.
Yeah. So what have we got coming up today then? In episode 34, I think we've got some things to talk about. Stuff.
Wow, that's good then, isn't it? I'm glad we both turned up for that.
Yeah, something's happened, and we asked you for questions, so we're going to talk about some things and answer some questions.
To think of anything. So if you want us back more than once every 2 months, you have to help us out.
Because not a creative bone between us.
Well, we could dedicate a show to a new Titan. But there's not been an awful lot of other releases to sort of go into depth about them. It's the wrong time of the year for a deep concept episode from us.
Yeah, mainly because we're both at work and tired. just
generally
tired. The existential dread is kicking in for Christmas.
It is.
Yeah. So we're going to have our usual crap and then talk about some questions. So what have you been up to lately then, Stu?
Not a lot.
No,
painting lots of stuff.
You've smashed out. Have you done the death?
I've done a whole word bearers.
You did a whole word bearers army with every type of dreadnought drop pod, every type of drop pod known to man in it, and you've smashed out 4 knights that just appeared today. You didn't even tell me you were doing.
Yeah.
So you've not done much.
It's because I booked them months ago, so I sort of forget I was doing stuff until it hits the rotation. But lots of word bearers, lots of pods. Some of those ones are fun to build, but we'll answer that more. There's a question later about that, so I'll save that for then. Really good fun, actually. I haven't painted red for ages, and I don't think I've painted anything red for Heresy, so really enjoyed doing those.
You did flat, didn't you, rather than metallic for them, didn't you? They were a flat scheme.
It's a flat scheme for word bearers. In my head, they should be as well. And not, anyone that's done metallic, that's fine. But I kind of like the flat red for them. They weather down nicer like that.
Yeah.
And there's the odd grey one in there as well, just to sort of harp back to
they're just ones you forgot to put the red over
when they were worshipping a different god. But I really enjoyed doing it. Really nice, really good fun. I love doing the Galvorback. Such amazing miniatures.
They still stand.
I've looked at them loads of times, but I've never really spent that much time holding one. And you get to know a model quite intimately when you're working on it, and they are beautiful.
There's an obscene amount of detail on them as well.
Loads of stuff everywhere. But then they also paint up fairly easily because of the kind of the flesh that's growing out of them.
Yeah.
So you blend between flesh and the armour, and then you're adding kind of layers of ichor and blood and stuff. Actually, you don't need to kind of paint them. You don't have to kind of make everything, oh shit, there's loads of flesh on this model. It's not like painting a Age of Sigmar slaughter brute or whatever when you got loads and loads of flesh everywhere. It's quite good. So really good. Really enjoyed doing them. Client opened them last night. They landed in America fairly quickly. And
I bet that's always a relief when you get the message.
Especially when you're sending a special K and you spend your envelopes over, because those you can't really not. I thought, maybe I'll try and magnetise them. But the way if you want the parts to move, I'm using hand movements here.
Yeah,
But if you want
some
if you want those
obscene
legs
hand
to
gestures.
retract and
Yeah.
go back out again, well, you can't magnetise them because they kind of you stick it together and you slide the bits in
Yeah.
and you glue the top bit on, and it's
Yeah.
just a pain in the arse. So the way I send them is by sticking them into polystyrene or thick cardboard, so
Yeah.
you make holes for the legs.
Yeah.
So it fits in. Because
Yeah.
the biggest danger is they move around, rattling,
It
and the legs
slides
get
in,
knocked, and it's the pressure on it that kind of breaks them apart. And the only thing out of all the stuff that went, one Marine's bolter came loose.
That's pretty good going.
That's not too bad when you're going to the States via UPS. So yeah, worked out really well.
Yeah,
I
that's
did the
great.
nights, and they were good, really good fun. And I've forgotten the name of the night house already, because I just looked at the images that Dave sent me.
I don't care about your fluff. Just send me pictures.
Yeah, but they're going to be in one of the images from a black book as well. But really enjoyed doing the yellow on those. It's come out really nicely. So it might be the at some point in the future, probably not 2019, but some point in the future when I do my follow-up fists, when it's sort of the Gardens of Terror, I might use that yellow recipe as well for the
It's
armour.
a nice,
Had some
really
fun with
nice.
that.
It's quite a goldy yellow. Really,
is.
really nice royal yellow, gold yellow.
It's using all scale stuff,
Yeah.
but then using their inks as well. So it's got chestnut ink and their yellow ink.
I
When
do love
you
a
when
bit
you
of
airbrush
chestnut
their
ink.
yellow ink,
Yeah.
it almost comes up with a slight green quality to it, which kind of gives you some extra accidental depth in many ways. And then you get the chestnut for extra. So you've got some nice tones on it. So I might going to remember that. So every now and then you do a recipe and you think, it's worked out well.
You got to write that
And
one
then
down.
everything you'll see I paint in the next 6 months will be that yellow. But I had some fun with it, and it's busy, just knocking loads and loads of stuff out. I've got loads of War Machine coming up now, so like loads and loads of War Machine.
Like loads of
So
it.
heresy.
Is there
People that
anything
follow us only on the Geno groups won't see me post out pretty much anything from now. So if you want to see anything I paint, follow me on Miniature Realms, and it won't be heresy
I was
related.
going to say, is there anything you haven't painted for War Machine yet? Because you have done so much of it over the years.
Loads, because there's so much in that
Is
game.
it massive?
Yeah. It's hard to describe, but there's a very cool looking big boat thing.
Yeah.
You know the Age of Sigmar.
The Dwarven Space Pirates?
No, the shipwreck type thing.
Oh, the Gloom Wreck thing
There's
that came out with
something that kind
the
of
water elf.
scale.
Yeah.
For their Crix faction,
Oh,
which is a
cool.
kind of dead faction anyway, necromantic style faction, and they've got a very very cool large miniature. So it goes on like 120mm round base,
That's a fair old fucking
but
base.
the actual thing is like about a foot long. This
Well, it's
boat.
like the bloody black coach I painted. It's got its massive base, and
Yeah.
90% of the model overhangs the base anyway.
It's that kind of scale, a bit bigger,
Yeah,
bigger in some way. So, well, you'll see
Did I
pictures
send you the
over the next few
picture
minutes.
of the black coach in my Magna rack?
Yes, you did.
All I can say is thank Christ for that
Just
big
fits.
shelf. It literally, because as we were talking about, we said you didn't. I think you said if it doesn't fit in your Magna racks, there is literally nothing that's going to go in. There is no way you're getting foam to fit that.
You'd be buying a really useful box, and that would be
Yeah.
the only way. I think a lot of the AOS guys they transport their
Yeah.
armies differently to us heresy guys. So they'll
A lot
go
of them
for a
use
really
it.
useful box and they turn them upside down.
Yeah.
And they put a magna sheet in the upside down lid.
Yeah.
Magnetise everything into it, and
And
then
then
just
everything
use
sits over the top.
use the base of the box
Yeah.
as like the
Yeah,
roof
yeah.
of it. Stick it in your boot, and then away you go. Which
Yeah,
is where it's
right.
great if you're travelling in your car, if you're
Yeah.
going on planes and stuff.
Yeah, it's also if you're not trying I played with I magnetised my Sakaran Venator to go onto the racks by drilling into the tracks with magnets, and it works. I'm not comfortable with. It's a big most of the heresy resin tanks. If it does slide, it's going to take out whatever's next to it.
Yeah.
So trying to take those vehicles around and stuff, those Magna racks. So in AOS, when they've not got those, they've got you've maybe got a big centerpiece model, but it's generally plastic.
right.
It doesn't have that weight to it, does
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Whereas, so if it does slide a bit, it's not, even my Venator went sideways when the one time I did transport it and it snapped my dread in half. Luckily, but he broke at the waist at the join. But
having played lots of different game systems, my transportation has changed with the systems. So
Yeah.
for War Machine and for Heresy, I've always used foam because of the amount of lead for War Machine and the amount of resin as well for both. So I just tend to stick with that for those. But for plastic, for AOS and mainly plastic stuff, if you're going short journeys, you really don't need foam. In many ways, it takes longer to get it out.
Well, the Magna racks I bought are brilliant because the great thing is like when I get down to Incom as well, I tend to pop the top rack off because that's the cover.
Yeah.
And I just pop it apart. And like when I was playing AOS the other day, I had all my army magnetised onto the trays by the side of the game table, and I'm just picking stuff off it.
Yeah, I love
and it's
that.
it's there
You don't
and
need to clear up
organised.
at the end. Then you just click it.
Yeah, and as stuff's dying, I'm just dunking it back on there. It was just when I played Tom and Sam, which I'll talk about in a bit. As stuff was dying, I just had my rack sat there, and I'm just dunk, and at the end of the game, I just picked it up and dropped it in the bag, and it was all ready to go. There's no fannying about with foam and stuff. Foam's great. I mean, I've got the GW foam case with the wavy foam, and for the tanks and stuff, it's brilliant. So when we play, I put all my mech tanks in it, and it's great because that one case can take nearly everything I own.
Yeah.
It can take infantry and it can take vehicles, and it's really flexible. So it's really useful for that. But the Magna Rack just works brilliantly for clicking things on, and just for infantry games as well. It's just brilliant, especially if we play Centurion or something like 1,000 points, 1,500 points. It'll all go on that tray as well, and I've got my army tray with me as well. Then, I think it's what I did at a car. I just had everything on one tray, and I was just wandering around with this one tray with everything magnetised, knowing again, if I sort of tilt or something because I've drunk far too much Disaronno,
It's not going.
everything's not going to go straight off the side. It's all going to be stuck to it.
I'll be the same. I mean, I'm building an SPG army at the moment. I won't go into detail and bore people about it, but that's all resin. Basically, it's fine cast resin and with one plastic model, and they're all quite small as well. So I'm not going to buy foam for that. I'm going to magnetise everything, I think, and that's just going to be on a tray, as small a tray as I possibly can. Even if it's open, if I can go in the boot of the car.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. If you picked up what they're doing, like an A4 size, really useful box.
I've got a small one. Yeah,
That'd
it would be the
probably be,
height because I've got one mounted model. But well, as I say, I
If
won't go into too much detail.
Yeah,
about that,
but they do some sort of thinner, taller boxes, smaller, taller boxes. So you'll find something.
anything
for it.
that's easy. So, what have you been up to?
Not a fat fucking lot, to be honest. I've started work on the 2 Warhounds and the Reavers, magnetised all the Warhound weapons. So I've been sort of fanny-arsing about with Titanicus a bit. I don't know, I was just say I'm in a bit of a... I'm waiting for the next book, really, but we'll cover that again because there's a question about what we're going to do next in a bit. But yeah, so I'm sort of in this sort of leeway of I'm trying to finish stuff off. I'm trying to get my Caldor finished. I finished my AOS army. I'm just sort of, diddling around, finishing bits off to get ready for the new year. And I managed to have the traditional Christmas game. So last year I went up and played with Dave and Pete and Jamie Jackson up at Warhammer World.
Yeah.
And the Ultramarines took on the Wolves. And it's been pretty much a year in the planning of me chatting to Sam and Jody and Tom about having a big game. And it's been basically a year of utter smack talk. And it all came to a head after Greetings when I took the Porphyron out and it crushed Tom and it caused a few issues for Greetings. And it became, right, 3k a mech versus 3k. So me and Sam both brought our 3k of mech.
Yeah.
And Tom and Jody brought their 3k Ravens with them. We set the date for, 23rd, so last Friday. We said, right, we're going to get together and we're going to have this game. We're going to play this game. Originally, we were going to go to Warhammer World. We were aiming, book the big table, let's get it on a nice big table, go up to Nottingham, blah, blah. And then because they only gave you you can only book tables 3 months in advance or something. Yeah. Just as they were about to release the November bookings, they made the announcement that, we're getting rid of all the feature tables and you can't book tables anymore.
Yeah.
And we were like, that's great. The whole point of going to Warhammer World was to play on the big special table.
Yeah.
And
I've not been up since to know whether there's a lot more good tables and how easy they are to get.
Yeah, but on the same...
It doesn't sound great. I'll withdraw. I understand why they might have done it from some of
I
the
kind of
sound
do.
like there are a lot of people kind of booking and
not showing.
Well, we've been up there before. We haven't been able to book a feature, and then we've been up there playing on
and all the
tables
feature
and the feature tables are empty.
Yeah.
So,
but there should be a half-hour window. If you don't arrive within half an hour or make contact, you lose your slot, and then you've
get
got
people to pay a deposit.
Yeah, £5 to book a feature table. I wouldn't pay that anytime. No problems. But so we had a chat and we were like, well, is it worth going up to Nottingham now? The big thing is well, we can do Incom, and we're going to have all of the terrain and we're going to have all the space. And then we were like, well, we really need to plan on an 8x6 or something because we're playing 6k.
Yeah.
So we're like, well, fuck it, let's just go to Incom because I know we can play it. We got an 8x6 there. So then I was like, well, I'm going to bring all my terrain because I never get to play on it.
Yeah.
So it's like, right, fuck it, well, we'll just do that then. So we played a big old game. And, it was good fun because there's been a lot of smack talk, and obviously the Porphyron list has got a reputation. I had tweaked it ever so slightly. I dropped the flyer. dropped the flyer, put some more upgrades on, and bought more robots basically because fuck 'em, bring more robots. And it was a good fun game. So we started off, and it was like, right, we got first turn, we're going first. I rolled up the Warlord trait that gave me 3 units infiltrating, so I got really aggressive with my Vorax, and we were really like, it was good fun. Sam was in the corner hugging people while me and Tom were trying to kick the 7 barrels of shit out of each other, and we're like, all right, okay, we're going to play super aggressive at the start and really go for them. I got 6 Vorax lined up with Sam's 6 Vorax behind them as well, so it's like 12 Vorax about to go and eat into their assault squads. We got first turn. It's like, this could really hurt them first turn. So what's Tom go and do? Rolls a fucking 6 to seize, doesn't he? What a bastard. Absolutely rolled a 6. It's like, oh, great. So we went super aggressive, and now we're fucked.
I can't say I've had any experience of that this year. No.
So anyway, but it was, the first turn was really swingy because he brought what Tom brought? He brought 10 more Dathan in a Dreadclaw, basically with the sole aim of dropping the Dreadclaw in front of the Paphyron and putting 10 rending mounter shots into the Paphyron and killing it. So I was like, great, that's fucked. That's going to really hurt. But I set my Peltas out in front of them in some cover in front of the Paphyron, and basically with that, because we've got augury scanners on everything. I mean, we had fucking augury scanners everywhere. And I tell you what, those Mordathan dropped in, and the Peltas, and I sat there and I was talking to Sam. I was like, I've got the kinetic hammer shot rounds, so I can fire 10. I don't know, because I only had 7 of them. I was like, I can fire 7 strength 4 AP3 rending shots into them,
right,
hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s to wound because I've got preferred enemy infantry. So, okay, that's pretty good. Or I fire 4 small blasts from each guy at strength 2 with shred.
Oh, right.
So I'm like, 7 really good shots or a fucking lot of templates. And I tell you what, it takes a long time to roll up 4 shots out of every fucking gun. I did something like 70 hits on them.
Oh, my God.
With wounds. I mean, it's only strength 2, AP dash, so I'm wounding on 6s.
Yeah, I was going to say, how many of those?
But I'm re-rolling 1s as well for preferred enemy infantry. So I put I think I put about 25 wounds on them.
That's pretty good.
Which is pretty damn good.
Yeah, that's a lot of 6s from those.
Yeah. And then Tom promptly kills most of the squad, leaving 1 guy left behind. Oh, hang on, I've got 3 arc rifles in that squad as well, so I have some strength 6 shots in your face as well. Hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s, re-rolling 1s both time. Yeah, well, that's 6 more wounds. Yep, killed them dead. So that 10, 15 point augury scanner saved the Paphyron and took out a squad of Mordathan. Essentially, it was like, ow, that was painful.
Is that the biggest meta change?
Yeah.
Out of anything else?
Augury scanners have changed everything.
One little thing like that out of all the other things that
because it's not just, it's the fact that you can now, it's not just, it's cleaned up, it's now just Interceptor. It's Interceptor on every gun, and it's at the full range of the gun. That's massive. I wouldn't leave the Mechanicum with the Axis, anything that arrives from reserve. So if it outflanks, or if it deep strikes, so all your Charybdises, your Dreadclaws, your outflanking Javelins. I mean, I was hitting fucking Javelins coming in from outflank with Thalax, because I've got an augury scanner on a Magos, and they're getting strength 7 shots into them. It just...
Unfortunately, you can join Artificer armor in the same pot of cheap things that become sort of, why wouldn't you put it, and that becomes such a strong thing that you see in the meta that flavours the whole.
But what's it brought back? The Spartan. It's made the Spartan a much more sensible choice now as well, because it's not going to arrive from reserve. So it's changed the meta? Has it moved it forward? Maybe not. It's maybe brought Spartans back. Charybdis, I mean... it all depends on access to them.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's like for me, it's like Artificer armor. I don't have any problem with it, but do you have to limit the amount of them you can take? It's maybe
more of a prevalence in in Mechanicum because they have a lot more access to them. Legion list, you're looking at, I need to put an apothecary in a unit or a
But again, that's also apothecaries and units is also part of the leaning towards more kind of competitive meta
But
anyway, isn't it?
But you're paying a bigger tax on that than Artificer Armour, say, because Artificer Armour usually is an option within the squad. You're not having to buy
I'm
another
not sure
model.
you're paying a tax for something on a model you'd have anyway, which is giving you feel no pain.
Well, would you?
I think
but
people
would
are
you-
taking them. You're taking them in your armies, aren't you?
I do sometimes.
So this was.
but would you put a 50? Would you have instantly gone? But it's changing.
I wouldn't anyway.
Yeah, well, it's selection of units. You know, a Volkite Culverin squad, a heavy support Volkite Culverin squad with the Apothecary now is fucking lethal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that before the Augury scanners was not. You know, it's shifted.
I don't hate it at all.
If
It's one of
anything,
those
it's made
niggle things.
It's
where-
made infantry stronger because suddenly vehicles can get hit harder now because a lot of the things that bring you in from reserve are vehicle based. You know, so you know, infantry on the table. I mean, I've noticed it since Tarsis in the summer as well. Especially, I've seen a lot more heavy infantry armies. You know, whether that's a follow-on from Centurion, where everyone's built forces now with a lot more infantry in them because they play Centurion.
Yeah.
But you're not seeing, you know, numerous armoured breakthrough lists now. You're not seeing, you know, there are people playing with a lot more, you know, see a lot more big assault squads on the table, and there are more armies playing heavy infantry now. So that's shifted.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'd get rid of that, by the way. I've not even played it
I
against
think in
it
a year's time,
for it to be a problem. But it's one of those things you could see, and it's partly the way we respond to things as a community, isn't it? Where we spam things. There's always the problem,
But
isn't
you,
it?
you take your
good and
10-man
cheap, we spam.
Volkite Culverin squad, I'll take my Typhon. Fuck you, feel no pain. Fuck your cover, fuck everything, you know. So
there are other ways. And
Hopefully
if it means that maybe people are playing a little bit more, as you say, more infantry, more stuff starting on the table, so there's less of this kind of reserve shenanigans, then that's probably a good thing.
Yeah. But I think the impression I get from event organisers and stuff that I've been talking to stuff, you know, the sort of no special characters thing was very much a 2018 thing. 2019, people are thinking, yeah, we'll probably have Primarchs and stuff back now. You know, we've done that kind of thing. Maybe not in the sort of, there's 3 Russes running around my event again, but, you know, there'll be...
It depends what kind of event, doesn't it?
Yeah,
if you're having a relaxed gaming event where you want people to bring fairly tough armies and you've got good players going against good players and trying to and sort of best each other, then great. If you're going for a heavily narrative where you want to control who you're not doubling up on any characters, and you've got to say, well, who's going to be Dawn? Right, you've got Dawn, no one else can be, and so on. Then great. So it's just about.
I think
variety,
we're just
isn't
going to
it?
see that shift change, and that will again change the meta a bit because suddenly a Primarch. If you take a Primarch in a list, it tends to force your hand as to how you build that list, which I think will stop people taking them as much because I think people, especially this year, have got very into finding different things and taking different themes. And like I said, I mean, if I'm taking Guilliman, it's like, right, well, I need a bodyguard, so I'm probably going to take the suzerain. So I need a compulsory HQ, so I'll probably take a chaplain, you know, because it's a good combo in there. Okay, they need a transport. So before I didn't know it, just that decision to take Guilliman has put me into 1,000 points of models that need to go with that to make that that go round, you know, fluff and thematically and game wise.
I think we'll see a meta that responds to whatever units are released in the
let's
next book.
let's see what
there's a good chance that we'll have 2 new shiny Primarchs to meta. People will start taking stuff
and
to
that demons
balance them.
list could really mess with stuff.
Or if the power shift continues, then people will only be playing Scars, Blood Angels, 1,000 Suns.
Even Space Wolf players will be starting to think about maybe changing allegiance. But yeah, so that's what I've been doing. But yeah, we ended up having a really good day at Incom, smashed out like three and a bit turns, I think, in the end, by the time we yelled at each other a lot and moved all that kind of stuff around. But Firearm still didn't get killed. But at 6k, it wasn't as devastating. I mean, it blew up two holes into big assault squad. It took out an assault squad, a couple of quad mortars, a tank here and there. It didn't. At 6k, it felt much more reasonable on the table. It was blasting out lots of shots, but it wasn't like at 3k where it was like, one round of shooting's taken out half your army. I mean, them going first was massive. Because if the Bavarian had fired first, Jody got 2 big 15-man assault squads, which were basically going to be prime target for the Bavarian because I've just smashed wounds into them. They stole. He charged into my Vorax because they were dead close,
right?
Which got them into combat. I mean, I couldn't then lomb into them. He did make. Jody didn't realise you can use melter bombs against monstrous creatures for 3 turns. So his assault squad spent 3 turns fighting my Vorax.
Right.
And he went, and Tom went, "Are you not using it? Have you got melta bombs on them in the 3rd turn?" He was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Why haven't you used them against monster creatures?" He was like, "I didn't know you could." And I said to him, I was like, "Because you didn't, I assumed you hadn't got the melta bombs, because we haven't really taught lists or anything. We just kind of chucked shit on the table and went for it." So yeah, it was like so they got killed, but I was like, huh. But then in the end, I said like, if you'd have bust through them in 1 turn when you charged, you'd have been stood in the open, and the Perfaran would have dropped 4 massive pie plates on the top of your head anyway. So yeah, swings and roundabouts. But yeah, it was a good fun game. I think the Ravens had it in the end. They held the objectives and give us a good smash. It swung towards the end. The second half of turn 2 and turn 3, they really came back strong at us, and gave us a hard fucking time. But yeah, that's all I've really been doing. So what else did we want to talk about? We wanted to talk about the Weekender, didn't we?
Yes, yeah. I think it's just worth mentioning or covering what happened. It was a bit unusual, wasn't it? The original announcement, which is, I think, what a lot of people thought might happen, is that it was going to be multi-system.
It was basically
again.
a specialist games Weekender that was announced.
That was the first messages we had to each other is, why are they still calling it a Heresy Weekend?
Yeah, it's not a Heresy
Fair enough
Weekend.
if they're going to go down this route, but why is it still called Heresy
change
Weekend?
the name. What you're naming it doesn't match with what you're selling.
Yeah. Well, I didn't expect them to add all of them. I thought they'd just be Titanicus. I really didn't expect them to add all those systems. And I don't know what the chatter at the studio was about it, but having been within the SPG community a little bit now, so I'm in the biggest group for them, the Great British Hobbit League. I didn't see anyone share that post saying, "Look, guys, we can go to this weekend thing." Yeah. No one, it wasn't on their radar at all.
Because it hasn't been for years. Why would they be looking?
And the lead designer, Jay Clare, goes to all the events. He's very much in the community more than some of the Heresy or 40k guys. He's much more tight knit within the community, and he wasn't even sharing it in there saying, "Look, we'll be there at this weekender." Yeah. So it did feel very much like maybe the other systems hadn't at that stage got anything planned or prepared for it anyway. So I'm guessing there as well, but I just didn't see anyone talk about it. So by the time there was a bit of a U-turn, it didn't. I'm not sure it affected. I think it was a good decision, because as much as I would have happily gone and seen, I'm not going, by the way, but as much as I'd have been happy to go to an event where there's multiple systems there, it is. Is this just a bigger or smaller but more intimate open day at that sense?
For me,
so
actually, though,
I think it makes sense.
Probably a controversial opinion, but actually it was less appealing to me as a Heresy Weekender, because it's a big ask, the Weekender. It's a lot of money, it's a hotel, it's great. I'm not saying it's not been a good event previously, but it's a big thing. It's a big commitment to go and do that, It's a lot of money and a lot of time, to go and do that. And while I love Heresy, knowing that the Heresy content would be there, and I get my Necromunda and Titanicus and all the others, it's like, actually, that's more worth it for me, because there's going to be so much, there's more for me. Mm-hmm. Going back to Heresy didn't make me not want to go, but it took away that extra reason to go, if that made sense. I mean, and again, I'm not going because I can't make the things go round and everything, but for me, it was actually like, I would prefer a Specialist Games Weekender. That, for me, would be a bigger sell for me.
I like it in principle. I've not been to the Horus Heresy one, but if we talk about what the people that have been every year talk about, is that the fact that it is a limited ticket, the fact that it's very intimate, you've got longer time to talk to the people. I just wonder if you go, by the very nature of spreading it to open other game systems, you've got to invite more people. Yeah, it becomes bigger. Do you lose that? Then is it just an open day?
Yeah.
So then we've got a Forge
World
Open Day. And you have that
question. Well, what's the Forge World Open Day if all the Specialist games are there?
And then if you don't do that, and you do still keep it to 300, 350 tickets, and we don't know how many tickets were sold this time to change the venue, then you're still going to have groups of people. So some people there from, say, the SPG community, some people that only like Necromunda.
Will it
you're going to have
diluted?
Groups of people that dilute it. I honestly don't know what is the right thing, and you'd only know by doing each event and saying, right, which is the best, what should we do? And it's not going to happen. I think what has happened is, now I get the impression that Heresy Weekenders aren't quite the same as they were during year 1, 2, 3, maybe 4. Yeah. And they might never be that again if they're always going to have the secondary game tagged on. It'd be really interesting then next year whether they tack a secondary game on there or if it's just... Because this year they obviously thought, oh, we'll do everything. Oh, we'll backtrack to the AT and Heresy Weekender, which is what we kind of guessed it would be.
So the question to me...
What's going to happen next year?
I think the question that you asked, or we certainly talked about, if they were planning on having all these other game systems there, they must have worked out how much time they got for everything.
Uh-huh.
Is there enough Heresy content to fill up all those gaps now?
Yeah, who knows? But I get the impression they're able to make that decision very quickly.
Yeah.
That they haven't really nailed down what they're going to talk about yet. I can't.
I just Monday. Like I say, I don't know. I'm going to guess in.
I'd hope there would be this time. I'd hope that this time they would be. I'm assuming that the book will be released that weekend. So people are going to be asking questions about the book. It shouldn't be all about what's coming in the future. Some of it should be asking people how they did things. I find that just as interesting. I love so some of my favourite films. I'll watch the DVD extras. I've watched the film, but I love knowing about how they did it. Yeah. And so personal point of view, I think just adding to, asking people a bit more detail. How did you do this? How did it? Is great anyway. But I think a lot of people like the Heresy thing because they find out tidbits of information that we wouldn't have had. And now we've got a community that information goes out early. I think the whole gaming sphere for GW has changed since that first couple of Heresy weekends when
they don't do things as a company.
If you didn't go, you wouldn't really find that information out because it wasn't being pumped out. And I'm disappointed I can't go, but I can't go because I can't justify the cost when I've got a new baby due and like 6 weeks afterwards. That's what it comes down to, really. I think the wife said, you can go, but you know what? I'd rather go to 5 open days throughout the year and spread it throughout the year than this. And I couldn't really justify both, so to speak. So, it's interesting. I'm glad they made the change because I don't think the people from the other systems are too worried, and it keeps the core market of this happy. I wouldn't have minded either way. I think if they were going to make it a specialist games weekender, then they should have called it that, though.
Yeah, they should have been honest about what they were doing with it. But I think they were trying to avoid upsetting people by calling it the Heresy Weekender, but by doing that, they upset more people. Yeah, we're
not stupid. As a community, we're quite switched on with things. We say stupid things a lot as a community, and we react stupidly to things and overreact to things, but we're not stupid people.
Yeah.
So people can see through these things and see through what might be a sales tactic or might not be a sales tactic, which leads us really nicely on.
Yeah, should we talk about the next controversial, talking about whinging and moaning?
Titan weapons stuff. So that was very interesting. The most interesting, I'm assuming everyone that listens to this knows what's going on.
Let's give some context just to be on the safe side. I think there was whether it's a misunderstanding or whatever, but there was definitely a feeling within the community that we were getting upgrade sprues for Warlord Titans.
Or upgrade weapons, whether that be resin or plastic.
Yeah, so weapons would be available separately for it. And I think with the Warlord coming out with pre-magnetized arms and stuff as well, it definitely felt like that was the way it was going as well.
Yeah.
And then we got the announcement that the new Warlord Titan would be coming out with the plasma and the claw.
Mm-hmm.
And there would be no upgrade sprue, and you'd have to buy a £60 model to get 2 weapons.
Yeah.
Which I will totally agree, bummed me out. I thought, that's really poor.
Yeah.
I do not need a £50. I think we said I think we made the comment in there, there's going to be a shitload of Warlord bodies up for sale on trading sites because people are going to buy them for the weapons.
Yeah.
I think there was a general...
I just said to you, well, I will convert. I'm only interested in really maybe buying 1 or 2 more weapon options.
I was looking at the
just convert one.
I was looking at the Redemptor Dreadnought's plasma cannon going.
Yeah,
I could probably work something with that, and it was the same thing. Like, I'm not going to go and fork out on that. There was, I think, some very understandably upset people talking about it. There were some well balanced and well thought out comments put out, and there were some raging neckbeards screaming and shouting in the comments section. I would hope that the sensible comments, the well-balanced, well-thought-out comments were the ones that GW listened to, but whatever, they did listen and they have announced...
I think the volume of them would have had an effect. But then, yes, the fact that there were some well-worded ones amongst them, and it seemed to be quite well interspersed amongst them as well.
Yeah, there was a good amount of well-reasoned, sensible comments being made. But for me, like I said, I think we were probably in amongst a lot of people who went, It's not worth it. Not worth. I mean, we'd be looking at 50 quid from Incom on a pre-order to get 2 weapons and then have a body, because I mean both of us have realised
we already sold the second Warlord because we
realised you don't, unless you're going to do a couple of Legios, you don't really appear to need 2 Warlords.
Or you want to run a Warlord heavy mana pool, which I didn't. I especially as an occasional player, I see the power in the fast.
Yeah.
the fast little flies that get around your feet. That seems to be the way of doing it. I think so. But
it's, so I think that there would, there's a real business case to say you ain't going to sell a lot of those, because most people who are into Titanicas have Warlords at the moment, and okay, great, to get the alternate head, you can get that new kit for the alternate head. Okay, cool. Yeah, there's an alternate head in that box. I'm not worried about it because it doesn't affect my game.
Would never purchase it.
Yeah.
Not for the alternate head. I would if it was a resin one, maybe. I wouldn't. Yeah. This doesn't.
But by not having general access to that head, it doesn't affect my game. Not being able to get the weapon sensibly prevents me from playing the game, and that makes me think, well, I spent all this money on this game, and I can't play with all the options.
It was an intro. There's a couple of things that stand up for me to make it an interesting decision. One is that they follow in the Plastic Knights kind of process, so similar sized model, box price.
Yeah.
But the game's very, very different. And then theoretically you buy another Knight and you can run 6 or 7 in a game.
Yeah.
Whereas you run lightly
6 or 7 Warlords.
Exactly. That's the first thing. So just looking at the kind of size and cost of the model on the format didn't seem to match. The second one was about there was a comment that Andy Hall made, and I think it was in the IF4's group, just saying he was very, very careful all along to never say that there would be a separate weapon sprue available. And I believe him. I bet he's never said that. But I do wonder where this has come from, because the whole community for the whole time has been talking about this, including pre-release, including from talking to other people. So whether that's other people presenting at open days, at Fest,
there was very much the impression that there was
everyone was talking about it. These guys are in the groups as well. There didn't seem to be any kind of
there was a lot of chat about when's our weapons,
even if they let it out as a rumour, because I know some of them will know certain people within the community. It just at no point was it made available. With that, was there a strong rumour that
there was no
this
push
isn't
to correct
like
what
this?
we were saying.
So whether you do it as an announcement, which would be an odd thing for a business to do, I didn't expect them to come out and go, by the way, guys,
you're not getting this. That.
But however that information could have done with getting out there. But it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, they've looked at it and gone, hang on.
Which is great. They've reacted.
We can make money selling this. We can still release this kit, because some people will need it as a kit.
Yeah, some people will have seen people playing Titanicas over the last couple of months and gone, yeah, I want to get into that. Oh, great, there's an alternate Warlord. Yeah, that's the one I want. Cool, I'm in for that.
Who knows, in the future, we might go, I want to start a new Legio.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to start with the Plasma and that one. Yeah, great. It's not a problem having that kit there. I think the furore was, look, I don't want to go and spend 50, because it was very much for a lot of people, 50, 60 quid to get those 2 bits of that sprue, which is not, that for most people, I don't care how deep your pockets are, 50 or 60 quid just to get 2 weapons is silly. Is a lot of money,
Yeah, I mean, the releases would have been planned a long time ago, so there's just been a disconnect there with the group, and what's actually happened is slowly kind of split further and further away from the reality of it. But
should we mention the Warbringer while we're talking Titans?
Yes, yeah.
So we've got a new 28mm scale Titan, the Warbringer class, Nemesis class Warbringer Titan.
I love it. It's awesome. Never going to own one.
No.
For that. Well, not in that scale anyway.
So it sits between a Reaver and a Warlord, doesn't it? And it's stunning. And it's one of Giuseppe's last paint jobs before.
Yeah, I think he did it with Phil.
Yeah,
I think he's done most of it.
I think Will sculpted it.
Yeah.
And Giuseppe painted it, and Phil's had, I think, or at least the way I read it when Phil's kind of had a foot in both processes, helping with the sculpting and the painting, and it looks stunning. It's fucking mental. It's brilliant. I've seen a lot of comments. I've seen comments around of, oh, why would you have that massive cannon? And it's got a revolver, and it doesn't work, and it doesn't make sense. And I think it's a massive fucking space robot. We're playing with future toy soldiers. You have to suspend your disbelief at some point. Yes, the bloke hasn't got earplugs in and he stood next to a massive cannon. He stood on the back of a walking robot that's fucking siege. yes, I know we like some realism.
Will's answered that, and I don't know which group it was in, but Will's answered that. And he actually put the guys that are out there are that image is them doing pre-checks. They're not actually in
this is
battle
not in battle,
yeah. And
but it doesn't matter.
So he's replied saying this,
it's
not without announcing who he is.
Suspend some disbelief.
And someone's moaned back saying, "No, mate, you're wrong." And he's like, "No, but honestly, I can tell you that this is what it's designed to do. You don't have to glue them on there effectively, kind of thing." And the bloke's like, "Nah, mate," and he's just like, "Oh my god, do you know?" No, anyway.
But
you don't have to stick them on.
My point is, we have to suspend our disbelief at some point and say, yes, okay. If you were engineering that massive cannon, having a revolver style loading mechanism probably isn't the best way of doing it, but it looks fucking cool. But there's so
much in all of their systems that wouldn't.
Exactly. I've just spent the lot obviously listening to Legends of the Painted Men and the way they discuss the Night Haunts. Basically sheet ghosts. They're essentially an army of children with bed sheets over their heads. At some point you've got to fucking just realise you're painting sheet ghosts.
Go and search Legends of the Painted Men podcast. It's a couple of American comedians, proper touring comedians. That play AOS, and it's just like live improv every time. It's hilarious. You don't need to like AOS to.
It's not a podcast about AOS. It's a comedy podcast loosely based around AOS.
So if you've painted any models, especially loose related to fantasy style stuff, you will find it hilarious.
Slaneshi Canteen is probably. I genuinely had to stop in the services at motorway to catch my breath. I was laughing so hard I thought I was going to die on the motorway.
It's not safe for work.
Oh yeah. Do not play that one in front of the children. Well, it depends what your children like. But yeah, anyway. The point about
amazing Titan. Anyway, really cool.
They have this point of you're playing toy soldiers, and actually it's a fucking ridiculous thing to do. I'm going to spend 3 or 4 hours moving my models inches by inches across the board, rolling some dice and hoping. It's a ridiculous thing we do.
Yeah. It is. It's science fantasy, not science fiction.
Yeah,
that's a big part of.
So you just have to go. Do you know what? It's cool. Fuck it. It's brilliant. Makes me laugh. It makes me happy. I don't care.
I love it. I think he looks the broad head on it. He looks kind of bestial. He looks kind of like so in Battle of Five Armies, Hobbit. They've got the trolls that are basically like catapults on the back. And they like big and brute.
Yeah.
He looks like
he's got that big.
He's almost like I'm the slightly low IQ Titan that's got the
punch
big gun
really hard. Yeah.
Ludo smell. It's that kind of feel to it. I don't know if that's what you're aiming for, Will, but that's
it's brilliant. But it is, and it's got its own identity away from the the Warhound has its identity, the Reaver has its identity, the Warlord has its identity, and now the Warbringer has its identity. It's not. Oh, it's just a slightly bigger Reaver or a smaller Warlord.
I like that.
It's got its style. It's got its place. It feels unique. So, yeah, I was really, really pleased with that. I mean, we didn't get... There wasn't much else Heresy, but it was the 40k open day. I mean, I'm just going to say those Gene Stealer Colt bikes are amazing. And I know Harry's already writing rules for them. And he's working on those, and they look amazing. And they might, if I'll talk to Harry, and we'll see if we can get them to a point where we're happy with the rules, and I'll probably add them into that index of additional units that we're on. Because as a militia option to have some kind of scout, I think he started off looking at the Rough Riders entry, a cavalry unit.
That's a good place to start, isn't it?
Yeah, and we chatted. I haven't chatted to him directly, but I've been reading the comments because I've just been so busy this week. But maybe looking at the militia reconnaissance squad and adding the bikes as an option instead, because the cavalry come with cavalry come with 2 wounds, which represents the model and the rider.
Yeah, but that's when you start looking at the Legion bikes as well.
Yeah, but bikes add in generally as a rule of thumb, bikes add +1 toughness.
Yeah,
so he would be better off having I think the general feedback you get a lot of them is +1 toughness, 1 wound makes more sense.
Yeah, that's
for
what I was
those
going to say.
guys.
Rather than use the Rough Riders as maybe not their stat line, but you can still look at their weaponry
because they've got like a lance and things. And that doesn't quite make sense with them. They, with the way the models are. So I think there's definitely right, but they look stunning, and the quad bike and stuff. As an option, like you take the militia guys, and then if someone can take an option for like a heavier weapon in that squad, maybe not like an autocannon or something, just something like a multi-laser or something slightly heavy.
You could have lances in there just as a weapon option, which makes what about some kind of one-use melter lance? So they're good for taking out armor on the. I haven't read all of the rules, but I think
he's put on demo charges and stuff as well onto them. So there's definitely something there that can be worked on, just like the armature rules that Pete did. I think we can definitely get something out of them because they are stunning. And because of the way the hopefully when the bikes and the model rider are hopefully quite separate, so you should be able to do something with working in your militia army, because they look cool and they'd be a really good option for a militia army to add some kind of scouting speed to them, to give them options away from the big tank armies or the big horde armies, to give them.
I love them, and if I do dabble in Kill Team at any point next year and they're available, I can see. Because it means I can just paint. Yeah, it just means I can paint one. Yeah. That's why.
Yeah.
I not have to worry about.
I did quite like the new Marnius Calgar model as well.
I didn't.
You didn't like him?
No, I can appreciate it as a nice sculpt. It just doesn't do
it for you, but it does. It does something for me. I like it.
Well, he's
I might have to pick him up at some point. Well, he's the best. He's the right colour. But to be fair,
he's not the best anymore. His boss is back.
His boss is back. I did actually see he's got a helmeted option as well, and I actually prefer that because it's got like he's got the Primaris kind of Mark IV style helm, and I like the face sculpt on it, but the helmeted model looks better. It matches the battle pose a bit more, makes a bit more. Always to me, if you've got someone,
it's Primaris stuff anyway, isn't it? Primaris armor,
he's got the upgrades. I've read this amazing thing about.
Has he had the? I haven't read any fluff. So has he had the other upgrades? Are they pissed around his body and stuff?
He's been upgraded.
Whatever the extra things
very
are.
Interesting.
I've read it and I've forgotten it already.
There is they built into when they brought the Primaris out that you can upgrade space. The process, there is a process for upgrading them, which is a great way of them going. That's all the favourite characters upgraded. Yeah. But there was
before we know it, there won't be.
I saw it in a group. I cannot remember what group it was, but somebody had written this little story about Dante getting the upgrade.
It's going to happen.
But the way it was written, the guy had written it. Fair play. It was fucking brilliant. Like, it was really cool because, Dante's been around 1,000 years, 1,500 years now, and he's like his storyline. Anyways, he's pretty fucked off with everything now. He's been around for 1,000 years and is. Fed up, but in the storyline now, Baal is sort of separated by the Great Rift, and he's kind of the de facto leader of the Imperium there. And they'd written it in a way that he got battered in a battle and thought it was finally time to die, and they were like, no, brought him back as a Primaris, and he's like, oh fuck, I'm back. Oh shit, I'm all fucked up, and now I'm even bigger and shit. Oh, I'm still fucking going. I'm even bitterer now. I was just like, the dude had written it, and fair play. I don't know. I can't remember his name, but I'm pretty sure he wasn't a staff writer. Definitely wasn't a staff writer. But I was just like, the way he'd written it, I was like, that is so fucking cool.
They're all going to slowly get upgraded now. Now one's been done.
Yeah,
they're all getting their phone calls from the mechanicus
saying,
do you realise you're due an upgrade?
But anyway, that's 40K.
You've got to have the latest model.
We've probably made somebody twitch in the corner about talking about 40K.
Would you like a nice case to go with your up now?
Demon changes.
Yeah.
Golden Demon.
I think a couple of podcasts have talked about this now. We haven't, and because we talk about painting as much, I wanted to just sort of touch on it. So there's no Golden Demon at the Weekender, which I think a lot of people predicted anyway when they added it to Forge World Open Day last July. So that's going to be a painting comp, but there are no mini demons anymore. So there's no mini demons.
Is it only Fest and Fest Europe now?
Yes. Yeah. So the big ones.
Is there going to be an American Fest?
I don't know. Yeah. I think it's still hard for them to do, isn't it?
And
do they need to do it when they've got such good groundings in the big independents? So when you've got Adepticon and you've got Nova,
they've got so with the say Fest, they've got the place in Texas now.
But it's small, isn't it? It's smaller than Warhammer World, so they could do some kind of US Open Day maybe, and I think they'll do something.
US Open Day, US Demon Fest,
but it's small there.
But a demon, I think a demon in North America is needed with having one in the UK, Europe. And with them building their presence,
I imagine it's been talked about. If I worked in GW, I'd have talked about it.
Yeah.
You're not going to see it at Adepticon because of, I say that really blatant statement there, like I know, but I'd imagine you wouldn't see it at Adepticon because of Chris Brush.
Yeah. That's the other thing. And
Nova, but maybe someone like Nova, one of those.
Depends how much they want to get into bed with someone like Nova, and do they want to take their one of their big marks, one of their big brands?
I imagine they've got quite a lot of sway, especially
Yeah.
with something like Nova. I imagine they can say, look,
then-
we're coming, we're doing stuff. Can we run a demon as well?
Yeah.
They can still do their own painting competition
Yeah.
to do with other systems, but
Yeah.
can we run
We're
a
gonna
demon
run a demon.
alongside?
But then they've invested in that place, the cafe,
Yeah.
or whatever, the Citadel in Texas. They've invested in that property. They need to bring people to that
I'm
property.
sure they've got loads of plans, and I'm sure
I-
that if
I
it
can see
goes
a
well,
demon
then
over
they
there.
will see another Citadel
And it'd be
somewhere
great.
else.
It'd be great if we could get 3 demons, around the world. It'd be great because it would be good, to push that on. And
Yeah,
then-
well, they used to do them all over, didn't they? They used to do down the Australian used to have a demon as well down there. So who knows? But there's only going to be one at Fest, so that's kind of changed my plans a little bit for next year. As we're talking about this now, I'll answer Cy Davis's question, which is fired in for our questions later. What do we think about it? I think, from a personal level, it's a shame that I can't enter multiple things next year. So I was planning on doing something for the AOS Open Day and doing something for the Forge World Open Day. I was planning on doing something for the 40k one next November and Fest, and maybe doing 1 or 2 entries per thing, spreading them out throughout the year. So it's a shame for that. I'm not going to be close to placing at any of them anyway, but if I ever was, it would have probably been slightly smaller fields at the smaller ones. So that means it's a lot harder for me even to, I suppose, get a pin now, maybe, because it's at the main fest. Do I understand why they were doing it? I think they were worried that they were diluting the quality of the way that demons were looked on in the whole wider painting world. There's a lot of painting competitions that are coming.
You look at SMC, Sans Monte.
Well, those things have been going for a long
Crystal
time,
Brush,
haven't they? But I think
happen
the
once a
wider
year and
painting
that's
community seem to be getting more and more aware of other painting things.
Yeah.
There's more people that we talked to that would have never even looked at painting a bust a few years ago are now talking about doing that kind of painting.
Yeah.
So maybe they're just trying to say, look, maybe we've stopped. Maybe some of the painters that used to come and enter aren't now.
Yeah.
And they see some dilution. So maybe they're.
Well,
I'm guessing.
It's also
I think
competition.
However it works out, I think they're doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
It will hurt some people along the way that would have enjoyed. And I was really looking forward to 2019 of just doing painting comps.
Yeah.
I still plan on doing that, but it now means I've got to kind of.
As long as they support the open days with a reasonably good provision of prizes, they still put a decent painting.
They're going to do a
on.
painting competition,
Yeah.
but who knows? It'll be run by the events team. Hopefully, if
long
there's
as it
anyone for the
doesn't-
events team that's out there that's listening,
Yeah.
and you haven't decided how you'll do it yet, all I'll say is keep it consistent. Do more than one category, and give us some information before the open day, so that we can kind of. So for some of us who are doing competition painting and starting to think about doing demons,
These things don't get painted in 5 minutes. You need
so
to plan.
give us a little bit of notice. Yes, the standard might not be the same as the demons, but we'd love to have a little bit of notice. So that, and yes, it's not going to have the same reputation
Don't
as
just
a demon.
don't just do one prize for best in show because people will just go. Oh,
Forge World used to have that at their open day, and
Yeah.
it was fine. But there is a bit of disparity when you look at the cabinets, and then we had that Warlord Titan, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I think it was Alan Bullard,
Yeah.
really talented guy, lovely painted model, and he got loads of shit because people just said, "Oh, it's got flashing lights and smoke or whatever it did." But there is a problem. The problem is if someone wants to paint a 28mm single miniature,
It's
and
never
you've
going
got
to stand up next to a £1,200
But they also, it's
Warlord.
very hard to compare.
Yeah, they're two different sets of skills.
Yeah, it's very it's different. So you need categories. There's a reason for categories. So even if you only have a single miniature unit, tank, large miniature, or something like that,
just some basic
please
structure.
have, and then please get
Single miniature unit.
Please get a painter
large,
from the heavy metal team to come along and judge it or something.
Yeah.
Just give it a little bit of credibility.
Give it a bit of weight behind it.
And then
as well.
you can almost use it as a training ground then for painters like myself who are looking to get more into competition painting. I'd love to go along, and if you win a certificate, great. But who knows?
The
We'll
important
be
thing
interested
would
to see
get
what
some
happens.
feedback from that. What did they like? What didn't they like?
Rather than someone in the studio who might be a brilliant painter, might not be, picked a winner, and it was the coolest thing on the day kind of thing. You'll find that less people enter. It'd be great for people to use it as a bit of a training ground. I want to enter painting competitions, and I might hit some independents next year just to enter the odd thing, and I will happily enter these at the open days, but not without knowing before. I'm not just going to turn up with a model, not even knowing what kind of organisation is is going to be. There's got to be some kind of thing beforehand to
I would
get
assume
me
there
to
would
take
be.
it
I would
along.
assume there
Otherwise,
would be.
it'll be a case of if I go anyway, have I got something to take along? I'll just take it along anyway. Something I've finished, or something I'm going to enter in Dita Demon later in the year. Maybe it'll get used twice, but it would be really, really nice to So if there's anyone that listens that has any sway over that, and you haven't already thought about it, have it, from one painter at least.
Just do what Sue
would
says.
love to know. We'd love you to kind of come up with a mini pack, a little bit of half a page on A4 of guidelines of a simplified
These are your
painting
categories. This is what we're going to be doing. This person's going to judge it. Bring him in at 9 o'clock.
We're splitting between these open days are split by system anyway.
Yeah.
Apart from Forge World one, they're split by system anyway.
Will
So you don't need
Will
to.
we see a Forge World open day again though?
Why
I think it'll be a specialist. I think it'll become the specialist.
I think
games
it's called
open.
Forge World, Tom, because Forge World is still the name of the top of it.
I just think
Specialist Games comes under the Forge World banner, doesn't
I
it?
suppose, yeah.
It means the same thing.
Same
But,
thing.
It's
the same thing.
If it were me, I'd like to call it
I'm just thinking
Specialist
from-
Games
I'm just
Department
thinking
and
from-
Forge World as
yeah.
the miniatures brand under it. But
I'm just thinking
it
from
doesn't
like a
mean
branding
anything either way,
point
does
of
it?
view. A branding. We've got AOS,
Yeah.
40k, specialist games.
I agree.
just-
If it were up to me,
yeah.
I'd do that. But we've talked about it.
Yeah.
That's bullshit, and I would change the whole. I'd swap the name at the top round from Specialist Games at the top to from Forge World, and have
Yeah.
Forge World as the miniatures part of
Yeah,
that. Just the way
like Games
Citadel
Workshop and
is
Citadel.
but it doesn't really change
Yeah.
at the end of the day what it is. But there'll be an open day for it. But
Yeah.
Anyway, I think
we've rambled on for a bit long. So should we go for a break, and we'll be back with some listener questions.
Geno52 is sponsored by Incom Gaming, the new centre for tabletop wargaming in Gloucestershire. Visit incomgaming.co.uk for great savings on pre-orders and all your hobby needs. We stock many gaming systems and hobby accessories and can ship to anywhere in the UK. Incom Gaming is the only UK stockists of the market-leading gaming mats from gamemats.eu. Visit the store and check out how to turn your tabletop into a battlefield. Incom Gaming is based in the centre of Cheltenham and offers tables and scenery for casual and organised play with a fully licensed bar. Check out our events page for upcoming events where everyone is welcome. Save an additional 10% on Games Workshop Heresy products by using the code GENO52 at the checkout. Visit incomgaming.co.uk and help fight the betrayal. Incom Gaming. Come game, shop, drink. To shop elsewhere is heresy.
Hello, welcome back. Oh, getting comfy on my kitchen fucking chair. It's not as comfy as a sofa, but it keeps me sharper, doesn't it? We are back. We're going to do some listener questions. So, as always, we've been on to the interwebs and talked to the nerds online and said, give us your questions. So, shall I hit us with the first one then?
Let's go.
So, first up is Mr. Titan himself, Matt Woodsmith. How often should I flush and service a Warlord class plasma reactor, and what's the best unguents to use? Also, what's the best brand of gruel to feed my servitors? Whatever you're using, Matt, because your fucking Titans are lovely and you smash face in when you came to play with us. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you're
anyone's
doing
got
pretty
any,
fucking well. Yeah.
Any more? Everyone's got any answers? Anyone feeds their servitors anything in particular? Like, I don't know, tea at the moment. That's all we're
It's
drinking.
mainly tea. You have become my tea servitor lately. The beer is it a sign of the times? The beer's disappeared and it's replaced with tea.
Tea. We should get a teas made. Is a teas made a tea servitor?
It technically is because it wakes you up and it automatically makes. Oh,
If you were born after 1990, a teas
Go and
made
Google
is something.
teas
Yeah,
made.
Google it. Yeah.
Because I want one. Do you know what? What fucks me off more than anything? How did Sam get sponsored by a tea company? How did the Unremembered Heresy Boys get that sponsorship?
Is that a real thing? I don't know whether it was just a joke.
I'm sure it is.
I'm guessing he knows someone that works there.
I'm rapidly Googling it because now.
I imagine that sponsorship just means he gets a box of tea once a month or something like that.
Yeah, Gazdan's tea. Gazdan's tea. Oh, ooh. Apparently my internet connection is not private here, Stu.
Has it done it again?
I don't know, but it asked me to go back to safety, and I'm Googling things in your house. I'm a bit... Yeah, Gazdan's tea. Yeah, South Sea, tea merchant. Yeah, how did they get that? I want a tea sponsorship. Anyway, I just drink.
We don't need
I just drink cheap coffee. But
Right.
yeah, actually, let's get sponsored by Teas Made.
Let's get sponsored by a beer company or something.
You say that, but the only time I've seen you
We're not
drink
going to be sponsored by either, so let's
the only
let's
times
aim
I've
high.
seen
Let's
you-
get sponsored by Ferrari.
Ferrari. No, I couldn't afford the insurance. I can't afford the insurance on my Ford Focus. That might be something to do with the 6 points I got in 3 days. But
That's not going to help us. Is it? Yeah.
No, I want to be sponsored by Teasmade.
Do they still make them? I don't think they're a
let's
thing.
Google it.
Let's
No, I
not-
can't
let's-
Google
let's-
things at your house because apparently your internet's not safe.
I think it's probably your computer.
It's my work computer. It's very safe. My other computer doesn't come out of the house.
Or maybe it's too cautious.
What was I saying?
That's what I was getting a bit
What
concerned.
was I saying to Collister the other day? There's the classic, if I die, please delete my hard drives and clear my internet history. And I came up with something else the other day, and it was like, yeah, you need to deal with that as well. Oh, clear the photo gallery on my phone.
Oh,
All
right. I was going to say, I
things
didn't know
I've-
where you were going with
No. I was sending him some awful pictures the other day, and yeah, my WhatsApp chats need to be cleared as well. Actually,
that. None of it works, does it? It's like you got your private browser on your iPad.
it doesn't matter what.
As soon as you turn private back on again, the same web page will just pop back up unless you've moved it off it last time. You best check that now, Tom.
that sounds like you got caught watching something on a private tab.
No, not been caught. I'm just
very close.
I'm just careful. So if you didn't realise that, just shoot after you've switched off private browsing. Just switch on to something else.
Problem is, it doesn't matter what you're browsing on. When you're saving them down to your phone, it stays on there permanently. Yeah, clear my internet.
That's only a problem if it's to the point where the police need to check it.
Yeah,
Tom.
clear my internet history, delete my browser history, burn my hard drives, and just throw my phone into the sun.
Right, we're in trouble because it's taken us nearly 5 minutes to answer, and we've not even answered
That's
the
the
question.
yeah.
We've just gone on to
Right,
a tangent already.
go on then, next one.
Tom Sargent, what's your New Year's hobby resolutions? Go on, you go first.
To maybe not be such a wanker. What am I going to do?
Is this why we don't make resolutions? Because they're not achievable, Tom?
Probably, yeah. See, I hobby butterfly too much through the year. Yeah, the big one for me will be depending what happens in the next book. I've got half an hour on a demons list. I'd like to do demons next because it will be very different to what I've done. It will give me 3 very different armies. I've got a legion, I've got a mechanicum, and I've got demons. So I've got 3 very separate armies there. That's all because we don't know what we're getting with demons because they've said it's going to be very different. It's not going to be 4 god demons. It's not just going to be, it's not going to be 40k. This is demons of the Ruinstorm. This is a separate thing to what we know in 40k. I'm very interested to see, but I've got this feeling it'll either grab me or it won't. Mm-hmm. So if it doesn't grab me, I've got a bit of a Shattered Legions Forces of the Ruinstorm army that I'm looking at, which is basically a chunk of my Ultramarines, some Blood Angels, some Dark Angels as well, and do a sundering of the Ruinstorm, a breakout from the Ruinstorm force. So I got that. I want to do some competition painting. I want to finish a bust this year. Mm-hmm. I started a bust this year. I haven't finished it. I want to paint something bigger than on a different scale. I'd like to get something together to enter Salute. I've no impression I come anywhere near finishing it, or placing or anything. But just as like a deadline, say right, I want to paint a bust and I want to paint it for Salute.
Yeah, it gives you a deadline.
It gives me something to work to.
Got a standard and stuff.
Yeah,
as well.
Want to do 500 more points of AOS. I'm going to finish the Caldor at some point. Mm-hmm. What else do I want to do? What else am I looking at? Kill Team. I want to do another Blood Bowl Force. We've got Blood Bowl 7's league kicking off at Incom. Blood Bowl 7's is brilliant. It's basically described, where Alistair runs it, it's the pub football team version of Blood Bowl. It's designed to be like you're playing with essentially your team. The players are amateurs.
Yeah.
So if anybody gets too many skills, they get recruited into the upper league. So if you get someone who's too good for the game, they get recruited out and stuff as well. So it's very much pub football Blood Bowl. So I want to do a Dark Elf team for that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, heresy for me. I was saying the other day, I was sat there and I was like, I fell under the attack of a Gravflux Bombard for a Leviathan. Went, oh shit, that hurts. So I'm kind of tempted to pick up a Leviathan. I picked up Garrow.
Lovely kit to paint as well.
Yeah, so I love the model. I just haven't really got round to doing one. I picked up Garrow and Rubio the other day in a good deal. So I'm going to paint those up. I got to put them in the oven first. It's a real test. I want to break the super glue up just because I want to, like Garrow's head's on and his cape's on.
Try the freezer first.
Yeah, I might try.
It if it works.
Might try the freezer. It's less likely to fuck it up in the freezer.
Try the easy way first, and if it works that way, brilliant.
I'll probably put them in. Just they're not. I could paint them as they are. I just if I can get them apart, it'd be nice. I'd like to do Garrow non-metallic, just to try my non-metallics out again. I haven't done a lot of that lately, and I know I need to do more of it. Yeah, so I'll do them. It's bits and pieces till I basically work out what I'm going to do in my next army, and that's going to hinge on book 8 a lot as to what that does. So that's kind of what I want to do next year. What about you?
Yeah, I think I've talked about it before. My goal next year wasn't really to do any personal army painting, and I don't see that really changing too much, unless there's something in book 8 that really kind of grabs me, and I hope it doesn't, and I don't see that in a bad way. I just don't want to kind of feel the big desire. The demons could be amazing.
Yeah.
There could be loads of new models, but I think I'm going to be all right. Actually, I think I'm going to be safe with that. I think it's going to excite me.
I think
it's
you're
going to make
really
me want to play
waiting for Siege of
games.
Terror stuff, aren't you?
Yeah, that's
where
what
you're
I'm
at.
hoping for. So I'm hoping it's going to take 2019 off Heresy Army painting for my own personal projects,
Yeah.
and then start to, as I start to read more of the Siege books, that'll make me want to
It'll give you ideas for
some more Fist stuff. And I've already got ideas, and one of them's related to a question we've got coming up in a minute, so I won't spoil that now. But so I want to do at least 4, maybe 6 kind of pieces, proper painting pieces, GW based next year. I don't think I'll get 6 for Fest. The plan was to do them over the course of the year, as I've just been talking about in the last segment.
Yeah.
So to get them all done in this first quarter with work as well, it's going to be hard. But I want to try and, if I can do 3 at least entries for Fest, that will be great for May. The baby coming in April is going to cause a little bit of an issue with that. But my resolution is to do those. That's my first priority. The second resolution, I hate making New Year's resolutions. I don't normally do it.
Yeah, I
because always
avoided
break them.
I avoided the word resolution. I just went, this is what I'm going to try and do.
Yeah, I mean, we make plans, so I suppose it's at least plan. But I'd like, if I'm going to make anything close to a resolution, it would be that to try and play more games next year and not let a new little one come along and be the excuse not to. Even if it means I'm playing more games at home versus you or Kurt and people that I can lure into my house.
Lure into my
house. Never make it. Then so be it. But I want to make sure that I'm a bit selfish at least once a fortnight and say, right, I'm going out for 3 hours and I'm going to go play a game down at Incom.
Yeah.
Rather than just using it. It's very easy for me to say, oh well, I'll put the kid to bed and I'll make some dinner or something. Now it's a bit late now. I could probably do a lot more than I do. So my resolution is to make sure that I play a few more games. Whatever system it happens to be, just play more miniatures games, really. The only other thing I've got to do, which hopefully doesn't spread into next year, but it might do, is I'm playing in an SPG tournament at Incom on the 19th of January. I've never played a game of SPG, and my army's on sprue. But that's still my December plan. That might become a 20.
3 weeks.
Yeah, but that's during my work time, so that work time isn't going away. I can't take a painting holiday.
Sigmar army that got painted alongside quite a few other things.
Yeah, that's true. So it might help a little bit, but yeah, that might become my first resolution of 2019 if I hit 2019 and it's not ready.
Yeah.
Other than that, what I said really, it's about the competition painter next year.
Cool.
So next one,
Bjornlund. What is the best way to convert recon marines? Capes, sniper rifles, shotguns.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Space Marine Scout.
I read that and I did think I can't think of much else to say on top of that.
Space Marine Scout squads, Tempestus Scion bits. Gibbo actually came up with a really good one. He used the Orlok Power Fist on one of his Sons of Horus, and it looked really, really good. It was the right scale. So Necromunda bits.
Yeah, I was going to say what about even Necromunda?
Because the
whole miniatures, the scale, they're quite chunky, aren't they?
Yeah, they're a bit bigger than humans would be next to a space. They look like a human next to a Primaris, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Could you? I suppose the Goliaths would be too big then. It'll actually look
Goliaths
bigger,
are too bulky.
especially if they go up against some plastic, some resin.
Yeah.
Mark 4s or something.
Windlass is using his. He's doing his Night Lords Recon Company, and he's using Goliath bodies and parts and mixing them in with armored bits, and they look really fucking good at the moment. And the Goliaths look the right scale for Space Marines.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they'd be good for Thunder Warrior.
Yeah, they would be. They're the right. So, but then the Goliath are a bit bigger. So, I mean, if you were using Space Marine Scouts and maybe Orlok or Van Saar parts with them and stuff as well, I think that would work quite nicely. That would work out.
I've lost the bloody thing now. My phone locked while we were doing it.
Because it wasn't scanning your face to keep it open.
Do you ever do that when it fails to scan? Sorry, iPhone,
No,
non-iPhone people. When it fails to scan your face, and you just go, "No, you will scan my face," and you spend all this time going, "No, cancel. Look again. No, cancel." And you think, I could have typed the freaking code.
No, I use my thumb like a human being. I don't. It doesn't know what my face is.
I missed the thumb unlock. I think it was quicker than the face one.
Anyway, I
Anyway,
get really annoyed when I've got a sweaty thumb or paint on my thumb and it won't recognise it, and I have to put the number. in.
I don't miss the super glue finger access.
Yeah, God. Do you know what it did teach me though? If I'm ever going to rob somebody, I will just bathe my fingers in super glue because you have got no fingerprints after you've got Gorilla Glue all over your fingers.
That's the next one. Oh, the next one's not a question. That's
Rich from the
Herald's Heresy.
Have we mentioned them
They're doing
before?
I think we've mentioned them, but they're recording the same thing tonight. It's just might be a bit late to get questions to them, but I think they're recording a listener's questions one.
So they're the Herald's Heresy. Go and check them out. They're good boys. Then Gibbo, speak of Gibbo, and he appears. Are there any events for next year which you've already booked into your diary or see as unmissable? I actually have nothing in my calendar for next year.
I haven't for Heresy.
Yeah. I'm a little bit up in the air with where I am with work and a few personal things, so I'm not committing out to things at the moment just because I can't and I don't want to let people down. I'm going to Spartan Axe this weekend. That'd be good fun. That'd be a good giggle.
We don't really know much yet, do we?
In terms of unmissable events, there aren't any unmissable events in the diary yet. The only people who've announced what they're doing for next year is Greetings. And I will try and get to that. In terms of people, I will try and get to Greetings. I will try and get to 30k Frontier, whatever Pete's doing next year. I missed the tickets for Company of Legends for the same reason. I couldn't commit to a ticket that far out. So it was, by the by. If I'm close to the time and the ticket comes up, I may jump on one. There's always tickets that come up. In terms of unmissable events, I want to go to Fest again. I always enjoy a trip up to Fest. That's been usually a good day out for the both of us, isn't it? That's usually a good fun day out.
That's very much planned.
I'll probably try and get something to enter for Fest for the Demon as well then. So, I want to go up for that. That's kind of it at the moment. We'll see what comes up, I'd love to go down and see one of Tom's events. I know that was a good event last year. I'll see what he's doing next year. I'd love to get over and see the Keith and Ad. Keith and Keith and Ad, their Thoros event. Again, I can't commit to it. It's a bit far out for me, but I'll see what I'm doing closer to the time. Just start throwing that "Don't you know who I am" around and get me a ticket to your event.
I'm similar. I mean, the biggest difference for me is that I'm probably not planning on doing any Heresy gaming events. It's not in my plans. I'm not saying I won't do any, but I'm not kind of waiting for them to be announced and working.
If one pops up and you can make it and you've got time,
just because of new baby stuff coming on, so I know it's going to get really, really hard, and I've already kind of got the go ahead to go to the open days because they're 1 day things, and I can always take the 4-year-old along rather than give the wife a bit of a break from having 2 of them. So I suppose my plan is those, but until we know the dates of them, it's really hard to say. I'm definitely going to go.
We can go up to an open day and take Jacob with us, and we can have lunch in Hooters, and you can have a real day out with the lads.
He'll love it. He would love it in Hooters. You should see what he was grabbing people dressed as Jawas at the Birmingham Comic Con on Sunday. So
as long as he wasn't calling them sand people.
So he was dressed as Anakin.
Yeah.
He had his 4th birthday the week before last,
and
he had a party, Star Wars themed one, and he said to me a few days beforehand, Daddy, if I'm dressed as Anakin, he said, what happens if Emperor Palpatine's there and I turn to the dark side and take over the Republic? Word for word that. And bearing in mind he was 3 when he said that. It was hilarious. And then the 501st Legion guys were at the Comic Con on Sunday, and they had loads of people dressed up, put a great show on, and they had the throne for Palpatine. Yeah. And he walked in at one point and sat down, and they tried to get Jacob to go and have a photo with him. And Jacob was super into grabbing everyone, shaking hands with all the stormtroopers. He wouldn't go near him.
He wouldn't go near Palpatine.
You could just look at his face, just thinking, fuck, looks like it's
really
him. I don't.
All you got to do is just explain to him the importance of the higher ground. Once he understands that, he'll be fine.
Oh dear. I'd say that as a reference that anyone that likes Star Wars will get that reference.
You're all fucking nerds listening to this anyway.
But yeah, no, until we know dates, I can't. I love Fest.
Yeah.
Definitely, it's my big thing I want to do, and I hope that doesn't clash with anything. I can't do Salute because it's the day before due day, so unless baby's 2 weeks early or something, and that would be too late to enter anything by then anyway. But originally I was planning on doing Salute. But yeah, until we get dates for stuff, it's probably going to be open days where I can hang out, see people, but go home and back in a day and get the book. I'm not saying I won't do any events, but it might be something that pops up local later in the year that I can go up and down in a day and do it. A bit like the SPG one in January. It was like 19th of Jan, Saturday. Can you take that Saturday off work, please? Yes, no problem, because she knows she doesn't lose me for 2 days. It's literally I drive up in the morning and drive back.
We talked about...
and I'm only in the next town, so...
I think some of the plans for Tarsus next year might mean that you're able to play one day in that as well, you know?
Yeah.
So
well, there's no demon at Forge World Open Day now, so I might not go up and miss it, so who knows what will happen. But we will see. Next one.
Collister's next.
Yeah, so he says, what advice would you offer to someone wanting to start running their own events? I think that's definitely one for you, really, isn't it?
Keep it simple, be realistic, and don't make a fucking budget. It's very trying to talk without blowing our own trumpet and sounding it as... Tarsus sells out very quickly. Tarsus has been running for 2.5 years, and we have a fucking podcast to yell at people about it on. We've got a lot of options here. Don't expect that if it's your first event. People will come if you do a good event. People will come and come and come. You know, Company of Legends is the same thing. They've got a good reputation. Events trade on the reputation. If people have a good time, they'll talk about it. More people will go. So be realistic. If you're going to say, right, I'm going to go and hire a massive fucking hall with 50, I'm going to have 50 players, and I've never run an event before, nobody knows, no one knows, knows the heresy around here. You're going to end up with a pain in the ass. Tarsus started with 10 local players. It then went to 20. It then went to 30, and it's grown and grown and grown.
Yeah.
Same with Greg's events. I know, they started off reasonably small and they've grown and grown and grown, and he's doing the big Blood and Glories now,
So budget
is
start realistic.
Yeah.
And be aware of your target market. So if you're someone that's well known on the scene and you've been to lots of events, and you know that if you put an event on that lots of those people go, oh, it's his event, then suddenly we'll go to it. If you're not well known on the scene, you might not draw in so many people. The other thing is,
be sensible about what you do. There's loads and loads of people who've talked about, I've talked to lots of people, we want to do an ISFAN campaign. Okay, cool, great. But you're saying, if you're doing, especially doing ISFAN 3, we've got 6 legions involved. So you're looking at, you're taking a small group of people, and then you're splitting that down even further, because you're looking for people who either got that legion, or are prepared to paint a new army for that. So you're limiting your audience there. You are very unlikely to find 50 people who are going to want to come and play 2,500 points of ISFAN. Now, if you say, right, look, we're doing a 1,500 point Centurion ISFAN event, which we all know is basically a box of Calth, pretty much, you might get more. So, what are you doing?
Just run a Siege of Terror event, and then Tom can't come as Ultramarines.
I can. I just run around the outside kicking the shit out of everyone while you're all busy fannying about inside the hall.
Stop pretending you were doing anything. You were long-term planning. Wake me up in 10,000 years and I'll take over.
When everything's fucked, then I'll come back and really save you all.
If I don't help out now, things will really go to shit, and I can be boss in 10,000 years time.
Yeah. Fuck being the Emperor's lapdog. If I just play my cards right, I can rule the fucking Imperium.
Wow, it's going to be a long time to wait. What should I do? I'll have a
really
good sleep.
Have a really good shit and a sleep. How long did it take a poo to drop out in stasis?
I wouldn't, would it?
Well, apparently his neck's been healing in stasis, so maybe the turtle head's appeared. How much would you need a shit after sleeping for 10,000 years?
Depends how much you ate before you had your neck slit.
If it's Fulgrim, he probably put quite a bit of spunk in you.
I don't remember that scene.
I got the what do they got? Director's cut.
You made your own pages up and
like I do in most books. Think about what if you're starting off. There's nothing wrong with running a 2,500 point straight up event. It's fairly simple. You're appealing to a mass market there. Make it easy and accessible. That's the way. you know, when you've got a crew of people who like to come to your events and you know they've been to a few, you can start experimenting then and start doing different things, and people will say, budget is massive. Know what it's going to cost you. None of us are running heresy events to make loads of money. None of us are making a living off this. But you should be aiming to walk away without it really costing you anything. Now, you might have to put in 20 quid here and there, if you know what I mean. If you're going to do something special, fine. But be realistic. We're lucky with Incom. We've got a good venue with terrain. If you've not got a venue to hire, where are you going to get all your terrain from?
Yeah.
You know, you've got to look at those kind of costs. You want to sit down and say, right, what's it going to cost to put this event on? I got the event. I want to do a bit of prize support. I want to do X, Y, and Z. So it's going to cost me this. So that then dictates how much my ticket's going to be. You know, and people have said to me, "Oh, you charge this for your event. Should I charge that?" And I say, I don't know, because I know what it costs me to run my event at Incom, so I know what my ticket prices should be. I don't know how much it's going to cost. You know, I don't know how much it costs to hire tables at Firestorm or Element. I don't know. You know, so you need to go out and work that out. Again, if you're starting out, people are not going to expect you to turn out with, you know, amazing prize, good player goodie bags, and if you're just doing a one day, I would rather go to a well-run, well-organised, simple 3-game event day that I walk away with nothing from, but I've had a good day.
Yeah.
Than go somewhere and it be, you know, the runner, the person running it's out of pocket and stressed because they've tried to put everything on for everyone to do it, and it's not really work. I mean, every time we do a task list, we sit down at the end and go, yeah, that didn't work, did it? We need to tweak that and that. And every single one there's a slight tweak or a revision, and stuff we brought in to tweak something before, we've then taken out afterwards because we've gone, yeah, well, actually, we've changed what we've done here, and that's had a different. So it's always a constant evolution of what's going on, and that's why we can do these things. Because again, we know, you know, when we run up to an event now, we know how we're going to plan games, you know, and we don't need to really discuss it now. We just go, oh, we've got to do the matchups, yeah, and we'll come around and we know what each other means and how we deal with things. So we can do all that.
It
kind
takes
of stuff.
time, doesn't it?
Yeah, but that's taken 2 years of it. So just like I said, I would rather go to a simple 1-day event that's run well, you know, and it's good, and then I'll come back next time and you can do a bit more and a bit more. But yeah, and talk to people. There's loads of event organisers out there. We all share resources. Everything I've ever produced for Tarsus is there for anybody they want. And the last thing I was going to say, look at what skills you've got. You know, Pete's got Ben. They can produce those amazing videos. As much as me and you can make videos, we've not got pen skill, you know. So we look at look at the skills you've got available. You know, if you don't know anybody who can make audio video presentations, don't worry about it. You know, if you've got somebody who can make amazing books for you, make amazing books. You know, do that kind of stuff. But yeah, cool. I could talk about that's a whole section on its own.
It is.
Really,
I think we've done a section on it as well.
Yeah,
potentially. I can't remember.
And don't go to Collis's events because he's horrible to me. Right, Mr. Mike French. Is 32 jet bikes and 20 outriders in a 3.5k scars list too few? Yes, you pussy. Stop building Sakarans, get more bikes.
Yeah, well, if you can paint that many, you can clearly paint a few more.
Just keep fucking painting them. You know, I've heard real men have 100 jet bikes in their army, and they have no mortgage and no family because they've spent everything on jet bikes. All he does is jump out of a plane once or twice a year. He's got time to paint that kind of crap.
If you haven't, what's his Facebook page called?
Oh, Mike French's Geekage
or something like that. So
yeah.
Check it out.
You'll
have seen his stuff anyway. But
you've
there's a
seen
home
his
for
scars.
it there.
Yeah, it's beautiful stuff. It's beautiful scars. I mean, it'd be nice if he turned up to one of my events.
I think he's coming.
He's
for
coming
the
from
Pod versus Pain, isn't he?
Unless he's got to jump out of a plane that day as well. This is great when when people have got no right.
I think he's coming with Ollie, isn't he? So if he's jumping out of the plane, maybe they can drop him off.
And they've got Curry.
Ollie under one arm,
scars under the other.
Both armies under the other.
Would you want to jump out of a plane with Mike's beautiful army and Ollie's beautiful army together? You know, I'm going to be scared to be stood next to the table with that many pretty models on the table. Mr. Muller.
Yes. When will you boys come over for a game?
When you get a schmuck and a pancake out.
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, I'm not going to have any time before March the 29th, and afterwards we probably won't be allowed over. We might need a visa.
Yeah. Mate, you might be easier coming to us for a little while. We might not be allowed out of the country.
Or you might let you in either. You might be scared you might stay and improve things. Anyway, we'll move on from that. What's the next one? Oh, Greg is also recording a listener questions one. I don't think it's tonight or not, but look out for that from Imperial Truth about the UK podcast scene, all coming up with the best ideas.
Definitely haven't all run out of ideas at the same time.
If you don't listen to Imperial Truth, I was saying this to Tom earlier, I know he listens, but if you don't listen to Imperial Truth, and you probably are if you listen to this,
yeah, you should.
He's got a great series with all the heresy authors at the moment.
Yeah,
and he's doing one each episode. It started with Mr. Abnett and carries on from there. So it's fantastic. It's talking about the initial kind of chapter when the heresy series started
as well.
And they're brilliant interviews, really fantastic interviews. To head over and listen to them. They're absolutely fantastic. I'm knocking it out of the park with those shows at the moment. Okay, next one.
Alexander Willoughby. What units are considered too cheesy for friendly play? As in, what will actually make my friends hate me? Asking for a friend.
Don't ask Tom. Well, he fielded one in his last game, I think.
Just don't play my armies. In all seriousness,
nothing.
Because
if it's friendly play, you should be able to do something to try and make it.
Talk to your friends about it. What do they not like? What do you not like? Talk about it.
Or bring it, but then find a way to balance it.
Yeah.
Don't spam it.
The general rules are spam. Is spam. We all know a quad mortar's good. Taking 2 quad mortars is not too bad. 3 if the list's okay. 9, you ain't going to have many friends
with phosphex.
Yeah, but it's boring. It becomes boring to play.
So it's not so much units, it's how you use them and the context of that unit. So if it's within a small game and it's really powerful, maybe you should be saving that for the bigger games.
Yeah. Or you just play Raven Guard and bring fucking 3 quad mortars and 3 laser rapier batteries and fucking infiltrate them, like some fucking wanker does. And that's not me. Friendly play, like I said, spam is usually the killer of fun because you are not doing it for fun reasons. The only reason to spam something is because it's good. Mm-hmm. I'll spam it because it's good. If you talk to your friends, like I said, you might find a friend. We've talked about this. Well, the level of game I like is different to other people. I'm quite happy. We're playing Tom and kick. We play each other. There is literally no quarter. It's the psychological warfare and making him remeasure his charges.
It's about whatever social contract, which gets banded around a lot. But you have a social contract.
Me and Tom
doesn't matter.
Me and Tom will play like that and laugh and giggle our whole way through. To the point where Greg comes over and actually checks that we're okay and not going to have a fight. I wouldn't play like that with other people because I know what me and him have a laugh and a giggle about. Yeah. So it's making sure you have some fun. Bloody hell, then we've got the bearer of the word himself.
Yes, so Callum, why is Corfaron the ultimate warrior and how many hundreds of Guillimans would it take to halt his unstoppable and physical prowess? So I like Chris Gibson's answer to this question. One Guilliman.
One Guilliman.
That is the answer. Just one Guilliman.
What we also pointed out is that when I run in with rag grenades and he's toughness 2, one suzerain with an axe.
One of many things.
One bolt pistol will stop him at toughness 2, In all seriousness, I do love Corfaron. This thing, Erebus gets so much shit for being the real problem child of heresy. Let's face it, it's all Corfaron's fault because he is a child abuser.
He is.
I really want to read Lorgar actually because apparently he is an absolute dick in that book.
Is he? Corfaron probably. I wonder if his voice should be more like the paedophile from Family Guy.
I was going to do the impression and then I realised I don't know how to do the impression.
That's why I described it as well. Yeah. I haven't watched it for so long. Anyway, moving on from that.
One Guilliman. That's all that's needed. Mr. Beach Jones. Mr. Sam. Mr. September himself. Who is your favourite opponent and your favourite unit to face? Whether it's fluff, theme or rule of cool. Makes you think. Our favourite opponents... Lots of different ones. I love Tom because
variety.
I get crushed by him 9 times out of 10, but the time I crush him, it's just so satisfying. I like playing. I had some brilliant games with Will Henry because they are so close and brilliant. I always enjoy playing Mr. Collister mainly because we just talk shit constantly. There is nothing better than staring into Sam's eyes over the gaming table. There's nothing better than watching Jody because you're never quite sure if he's going to stab somebody when he's playing. There's resting bitch face and then there's resting Jody face. I mean, he generally it's a bit worrying. There are so many good people out there, and this is why I say to everyone, get out there and go to events because there is a really good UK scene in terms of opponents and people to play out there. And like I said, I mean, I've described 4 or 5 people, and there are probably 50 people I could say I've had a fucking brilliant game with in the last couple of years. There are some fucking brilliant people out there.
Yeah, same here. Well, I don't play anywhere near as many games as you, so it makes it even harder to pick people. But yeah, playing different people.
Who hasn't seized on you?
Who hasn't seized on me? No one. So I can't even pick them. No, again, I don't think I've had any bad games of Heresy, to be honest with you. I've had really good. Both times I've played Callum, they've been really nice laid-back games. And then when Pete and I met up earlier this year, they were very much the kind of games I like to play. They were super laid-back, making up stuff as we go along. But I don't have a favourite person to play. And then the next
favourite unit you've seen over the table?
I couldn't. I'd be making something up if I gave an answer there. To be honest with you, favourite unit to face.
I've got to say, I do love the Ashen Circle. I do love the Ashen Circle, mainly because everybody thinks they're shit, and then Callum brings 30 of them and destroys people with them.
Yeah, I mean,
I love them.
I don't look at units in terms of, I like facing that because of a rule. And I'd be picking on aesthetics. And
what's your favourite? Yeah, what's your favourite models you've played against? But
I'm picking my favourite model. I'm not thinking of things I played against.
No, what have you seen on a table, even at a Tarsus or something? Let's
pick a Heresy model you like, which is what that's kind of converted to.
Right, put it. One model you've seen this year that you didn't think you'd like, and when you saw it in the flesh, you thought, I quite like that actually.
No, that consciously doesn't make. Sorry, you're not going to get an answer.
You wouldn't pass fucking improv school. No, you don't know how to fucking. No. You're blocking it.
I like being honest. Let's be honest.
Let's not be honest because I don't.
We've got enough questions left to be honest.
I don't need to hear that.
We can move on.
I don't need your honest opinion of me.
You had that one. I didn't name you in my list of my favourite opponents.
I know I'm not your favourite. I've seized on you far too many times. You've been on the receiving end of too many of my army lists. Tonka, Mr. Tonka's out. Oh, I know the story behind this one. Is that how broken is Sigismund? I'm still hurt in the butt. He said butt hurt, but I know it actually means hurting in his butt.
I'm guessing Mr. Collister's just
he got his new Sigismund out, and apparently Sigismund,
which is gorgeous, by the way, really
he's stunning. But what did he go through? Something like a whole squad of Sigismund and his veteran squad went through like a whole squad of Galvorback, a chaplain, a praetor. Various other things. It just cored through.
Wow.
Apparently, Sigismund is still a fucking beast.
Yeah, I suppose it used to be a model you hear about a lot, and then it's sort of gone off the radar.
But I don't think it's because he's got any worse. I think he's just the lack of special characters this year. Has
other stuff come out.
Tonka, I feel for you. That train went through him.
Right, next one. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce Adam's surname.
Yeah, sorry, Adam.
How do you pronounce a word that begins with TRP?
It ends ski.
Yeah, Adam Ski. There we
Adam
go.
Ski. Sorry, Ski. Adam Ski.
Yeah, sorry, mate. I want to run a Heresy campaign with friends next year with a mixture of ZM, Centurion, Onslaught and Frontline games. In the past, I've found that after a few weeks around, the campaign tends to lose interest for a number of reasons. I'm interested now how you would keep a campaign engaging, what's the maximum amount of players Legion should include, and keep things logistically sensible, and keep the fun at an all-time high. If I'm honest with you, Adam, I think all campaigns with all game systems do this. I think the only way to really, really keep everyone engaged, to keep it with a very, very small number and almost garage game it.
Yeah, and you need to be the driving force behind it. You need somebody who's massively driving it.
Or a couple of you that are equally as passionate about it. You almost need to do it with one other or two other friends and keep it really small. Yeah. It might mean that you play more than one army yourself within it and create a narrative that way. As soon as you go to a club and do this, don't not do it because of this, but as soon as you go to a club, a new game system will come out. You'll lose one player to that, and someone will they'll get a new job, and then they can't go that week or something. There's so many variables, so it's not always the game itself that people lose interest in. It's other outside influences which you can't really.
I think the other thing as well is being open and willing to say yes, because you've got to let things. Don't be too precious about where you think it's going. Let it develop, and if something cool happens, run with it. Make shit up. Like I've done it with Tarsis over the years. When we started Tarsis, I was very much, these are the rules, and this is how it's going to work. And to at the last event, I was just people just going, does it work like this? I was like, you happy with that? They were like, yeah, great, fucking crack on if it makes it fun for you, and letting people have that because. People will feel invested in it. You need to treat it like a D&D campaign. You need somebody who is steering it and keeping it going. But the best D&D campaign
flexible within
allows the group to then someone comes up with a half-brain mad idea and it goes on and something crazy happens because that's the stuff that you'll really enjoy. Then it's the stuff right on fucking cue.
He's arrived. To be fair, he's turned up later than normal today.
You have turned up later than normal, mate. But you're now stuck in all the cables around the back of the laptops and don't know where to go. And you're trying to pretend like you knew exactly what you were doing.
You're not in a cupboard under the oven. Twat. I was cooking dinner today before Tom turned up, and I heard some scratching at the cupboard door under the oven, and turned out the cat had been stuck in there for 20 minutes, half an hour, because he got in when I got the pan out. Not bad.
Yeah, see you later, Alan.
Come on, Norbert, get down.
Bye, Alan.
Right then.
What's so Michael from Greyed Out? Is that
Dice
Michael
Bags.
Dice?
Yes, it is.
Michael from Greyed Out Dice Bags. Go and check out Greyed Out Dice Bags. He's doing a promotion with the bags where he's adding.
I think he's posted up in our group.
Yeah, they're trying to fund a ZM board, and he's doing something. Some of the profit from sales of dice bags is going towards funding the ZM board for his club. So, go and if you've been looking at and ahhing about buying a bag for him, go and you're helping the community there as well and giving back. What's the best way to go about setting up an immersive narrative gaming table terrain collection?
I think it depends on your space, really. I think that's the first thing is what you've got to.
If you've got 85 bathrooms and and a whole wing dedicated for gaming, like Pete has, you can have
space
the space to have a full size table. I mean, I only say those horrible things because I am bitterly jealous about Pete's gaming room because it is beautiful and he's got stunning AT table and beautiful tables. I didn't realise how many of his tables are down at the Legion of Peterborough. He built and painted quite a few tables over the time for them. If you've got that room, great, go for it.
If like another Peterborough guy, Mr. Jamie Fox, and you haven't got space, and he's built his, I think, in 1x1 sections. He's built something recently, so you can stack them because that's the space he's got. Mine has to go in a garage, so I've moved away from big boards. So I have big plastic boxes full of lots of different terrain, but then I have mats. So I think the good way of building a collection is to almost have things that are multi-purpose. So they'll work off different tables. So you might have 3 mats, but been able to make 5 different style tables out of it, and just build it slowly. Think of multi-use stuff. So I've got stuff that will work for.
The GW plastic kits are amazing at the moment. It's top quality, and they're really, especially the newer stuff, is so interconnectable with each other. The new stuff that came up with Kill Team matches up in size and shape with the Mechanicus stuff. All the pipelines match up with stuff, and the combos of stuff you see people are building is amazing. So you can really go to town on that, and that's reasonably easy to access. It's a bit more expensive maybe than other places. Again, if it depends on what you're looking for.
He's put an immersive narrative gaming table. I suppose the narrative will either come after it, and you look at the terrain you've got, or you work out a narrative and then you buy stuff that matches your narrative. You got to start with one or the other, but I think it can work either way. Just be flexible with it. So next one,
Killer. Is Alan the genius behind the show? He's more intelligent than anybody else involved in this show. And he gets stuck in the oven drawer for about 20 minutes.
I think Alan is to this podcast what Glenn's Covenant of what's it called?
The Covenant of Death rule.
Covenant of Death dice rolls after heresy.
It's there. Nobody really likes it, but it keeps fucking coming.
Sorry, Glenn. Yeah. Tim Dennis, if you could design or have designed a Legion-specific unit and or character that doesn't exist yet, what would it be and why? Caveat, any Legion. Additional caveat, seriously, I really think Ultramarines have enough. Final caveat, not Ventanus or Trooper Calgar.
Well, Trooper Calgar's got a new model, so, I've already got his model.
I've got one.
Yeah.
I don't have to blag this. I'm just going to go, no, it's not real. I'm not going to answer. Half guard for bodyguards for Dawn. Love to see the Imperial Fist half guard.
The Huskarls, not
Huskarls, yes.
half guard are Russ.
That's right, yeah. No, so
Yeah, Huskarls.
Get me H's modelled up. So
that'd be awesome. Who would I like to see? I mean, I'd like a Dantiok model that would work with Pollux to look like they're kissing. But that's a whole different story.
Just commission Jack to make you one.
A kissing Dantiok model. Who would I like to see? Do you know what I'd really like to see? I'd like to see some of the humans with models. I'd like to see a Pierce, Olaneus. What's the fucking
female Starship Officer 1, because they're all female, aren't they?
No. The not the Immortals, the Perpetuals. Who's the one who escapes from Calth? Pearson.
Old Pearson.
And John Grammaticus.
Yeah,
I'd
that'd
like
be
to see
cool.
models for them. Maybe some of the Remembrances. Spoiler alert: if you haven't read the Beast Arises, Kirill Sinderman survives the heresy and is involved in the setting up of the Inquisition and plays quite a large part in the Grey Knights. I'd love to. So he's massively important,
as in the Living Saint as well.
I'd like to see a model for the Living Saint. More as collector's pieces. I'd love, maybe the diorama of the escape to the humans escaping to the Eisenstein.
These could be things that we can maybe see in the future once they've released all of the units for the playing the game. So once they've released all of
models,
some extra character series, they were looking to do things in a few years' time. It'd be lovely to see.
Especially for I'd love to see a Sigilite model as well. That'd be cool. That'd be a very cool model.
That I think could potentially see anyway. I think
we're going to get the big E at some point, aren't we? Let's face it. They're getting brave with what they've produced, stuff they said they never produced. So we're going to see an Emperor model at some point. So yeah, that'd be cool. And also more Ultramarines. Jamie, Mr. Fox, again, you speak to these fucking people and they just appear. I think we've kind of covered what you said about how do you run a local campaign and keep interest. You got to drive it.
You got to get lucky.
Yeah.
There's got to be 2 or 3 of you. You just didn't happen to be in the same mindset for a prolonged period of time.
Probably add to it. Be realistic. You ain't going to get everybody to play games every week. People have got to realise. If your gaming group, if you as a group of mates can say we can get together once a month, great, we'll get together once a month. If it's like we could probably do once every 2 months, say, okay, well let's try and get together on a whole day then and play 2 or 3 games in a day then, and
if you keep it loose and make it so loosely narrative that it doesn't matter if 2 people play 6 games in 6 weeks and one person plays 1, but you just making up an ongoing story narrative to progress your own background, great. If you want to use a map and you're doing stuff in that kind of way, then you're probably better off saying, right, we're going to do this over 6 weeks or 2 months and set out a maximum number of games. So always make it like a Blood Bowl mini league or something. But next one, Mr. Eldridge himself. If you could each pick 3 plastic kits, non-Horus Heresy branded, to add some character to an Astartes force, what would they be and why?
I mean, that's not biased to the way he thinks at all, is it? I think some of the Necromunda stuff. I've seen Gibbo doing the Power Fist off the Orlok. I think there's some really interesting stuff that could be used for specialist weapons in there. Some Xeno weaponry, especially for black shields and stuff.
I think
I do like some of the 40k stuff, especially some of the upgrade sprues and stuff, because they've got older marks of armor for adding character to specific to character models. They're quite good. I think
Necromunda, definitely. I think we already talked about the new Colts militia bikes and stuff. A lot of these things are good for militia armies, aren't they? GC the Colts, sorry, yeah. Because they're going to use them for Colts and militia army would be perfect. Things like some of the AOS Chaos guys could be good conversions into Thunder Warrior type things.
Yeah. There's definitely some good stuff in AOS that could be
off the top of my head. It's not jumping out at me. Other than the obvious ones that you tend to see people use anyway.
Harry, if you were to both do a militia force, what would the theme fluff be? What provenance would you take to make it work? And what would be your showcase unit?
So Tom will know that probably about 12 months ago when I was planning on doing a militia force myself, it probably went through about 10 different iterations of, no, I'm going to do this now. No, I'm going to do this now. That I don't have any prevailing, I want to do this first. I would love to do. If time wasn't an issue for me, and I wasn't working as a painter, so I could just build armies, and that was what I did with all my personal hobby, I probably would do 2 or 3 militia forces. One will probably be a big army, one will probably be sort of designed to be used as an allied force or something, because I love the idea of using different Necromunda kits. So I would do different stuff, and I'd want to make them completely different. And that's not it's not a cop out. That is a genuine answer.
I think I'm probably the same.
I'm not excited about doing other legions at the moment. What I love about the 30-40k universe is digging into that kind of wider world and the humans within it, and that's probably where it would draw me in. Sad thing is, realistically, I'm not going to do any of it because I just don't have the time.
Yeah, I mean, I must have sent you a million different militia lists where I've come up with various ideas and stuff. Where I've written lists for the Cult Horde. I've written lists for Super Elite. Best of the best. The last one I was looking at doing, I actually started off with a Colts list, and then I had to make it a auxiliary list, which was a full tank company.
Yeah,
which you can pretty much do with solar. You just end up with 2 las rifle squadrons having to be mounted.
Yeah,
but you can then fill everything in because you can take 1 HQ and then take 2 tank commanders and tanks, and you can just fill up Lehman Russ everywhere. I don't know. Militia's one of those ones. I think it's one of those ones where like inspiration hits you. Like it's something like Harry, it's clearly hit him. That's how, and you can really go from there. But yeah, I've done the one I've been really enjoying is talking to Liam about his squats army. And we've worked through a list and chatted about how he's doing it, and he's starting the green stuff work on all the Kakaradin Overlords stuff to make a squat army. And if he finishes it and pulls it off and paints it the way he can, it's going to be fucking insane. And it'll be a good list as well. It'll be a fun list. It's a really, really fun list. Yeah.
I think I'm more likely... What always gets me first is an idea of a visual or a bit of a fluff idea of what the average grunt might look like.
Yeah.
And I think I'm more likely now to channel that into, I'm going to build a 6-man kill team based squad I can get them the modelling and the painting in there.
Yeah.
And the idea and the background, but not actually ever turn it into an army, just be realistic.
60.
So it might happen, but that's the only way I can see myself doing it. But yeah, for me, the humans have got that kind of depth. Looking at the road traders from the Kill Team and the stuff from Blackstone Fortress, both of those sets of human-based models really excite me.
Yeah.
But again, I just want to paint those models. I can't really see how I'd make it into an army into it. Right, next one. Gibbo again. I think he's asked us loads on Instagram as well, hasn't he? Who knows? Chris Gibson, so how do your families handle your newfound, within the past couple of years, hobby celebrity status?
I am my wife describes me as a Z-list internet celebrity in a niche within a niche of a nerd hobby.
That's probably about right. I mean, Emma's getting quite frustrated the amount of times that she's papped for OK Magazine and wondering if she's put on a bit of weight and, why is she wearing shades when she's going to the shop? So that Emma couldn't give a shit. It keeps me out of trouble.
I think they grin and bear it for the sake of they'd rather we talk to each other about this than them. Yeah,
I think Emma's probably gone to the 3rd floor of the house, so she can't hear you.
Well, yeah, you did have a lot of soundproof insulation installed. The baffling on the stairs.
Yeah.
Tom Whitbrook then, if you could break away from the Ultras of the Fist, what legion would you wish you could do and get into, and why? What's alternative enough from the fluff modelling playstyle you're invested in to take you away from established forces? I've dabbled with. See, you're talking to two people who I think are some of these people who are committed to a force. There's quite a few people out there who will have 2 or 3 different legions, or will do a legion force and then move on and stuff. But I've done Ultramarines pretty much the whole way through. You did FIS and went, I'm going to do other things. Never built an army, and the first army you finished again off that was FIS. And I think we talked
apart
about
from the solar. Well, in terms of doing another legion.
And it's one of those things. I think I said to you at the time. I said, yeah. FIS is what your FIS are to you, what Ultramarines are to me. You know, you just every time I look at a Legion list, I just think, yeah, but I could do that with Ultramarines, and I like it. I have dabbled. I wrote that really nice Beastmen and Word Bearers list, but again, that was more because the Beastmen were involved. I do like the Iron Warriors. I do love that. I don't think you can represent what I want to represent on the playing field with them. I love so there's a bit in Ruinstorm where you meet the Iron Warrior guy who basically goes on to be the first, was it not Devastator? What's the Chaos Spawn that's got loads of guns? Obliterator. Goes on to be, it's the founding of the Obliterators. Where they're fighting in the trenches and they do a proper like World War II style, World War I style, climb over the trenches, run across no man's land, start caving people's heads in with spades, kind of real gritty, brutal, infantry heavy. I've never written a list that I can make that work, in something, not in terms of like being a good army, just in terms of I can't find a way of making it feel like that. I've dabbled with that. I've dabbled with Alpha Legion. What have I got in here? Let's open Quartermaster, because there's always about a million lists in there. My Ultramarines total is currently standing at 8,500 points. For me, I've got a Legion, and that's why I've done the Mechanicum and why I want to do Demons, and I'm more likely to do Militia than another Legion, because like I said, I keep getting to that point where I think, I could just do this as Ultramarines. When you've got 8,500 points or something, you might as well just keep fucking paying it.
Yeah, I think so. I approach everything first from a visual point of view. So it's not even, I don't have a hankering to do a breakthrough list or something like that. It is very much what colour do I want to paint? That one inventory model might be my inspiration, or a passage in a book or something. So it's not even, doesn't even go that far. So even less so, I could do it with even more so I could do it with fists than I could do with anything else. I still like the idea of Sons of Horus at some point, which I'm dabbling in. So I think if I was,
you came close to doing that one.
And I'd still like to. I still love those initial that initial trilogy, or 5 books or so, and they are very much the stars of that for me. So I would probably, if I had to do another Legion, I'd probably do that. The thing is, painting Legions for work tends to take away the itch, especially by the time I've done 2 of them. Yeah. So
how many points of Death Guard do you think you've painted over the last year or so?
God knows.
The first one was like 3 and a bit, wasn't it? So you must have done
more than.
You must have done 5k of.
I reckon
Death
it could
Guard.
be up as much as 10.
Yeah,
it could be as much as 10.
So you've painted,
two big Death Guard armies, slightly different style paint jobs, but I liked them visually before. Now I wouldn't have one.
But it's the same as me. Like if you said to me,
I wouldn't know how to approach it to make it my own as well, and that'll be interesting if I get a third client and wants another one that doesn't have their own vision for it, so to speak. When I was painting the Word Bearers to start with, I thought I could do. I've got some vision there, but a lot of that would be around adding lots of kind of flailed humans and militia and things to it. But again, if I do more of those, or so I do a second one, I'll probably scratch that itch for me. So by doing it for work, it does allow me to paint things that
you've painted more heresy armies than most people will anyway, because you just through the way work goes. So maybe not maybe in terms of quantity of models, but in variety. You must have done nearly one of most Legions by now.
I haven't actually. There's a lot I haven't done. Yeah. I've done odd thing for them, but not actually painted.
That's what I mean. You've done at least one model for most Legions.
Nothing really at the moment. Sounds odd, but there's not probably. If I had to be pressed on one, it'd be Sons of Horus. So next one, Jamie Harcourt. So he's another one recording on the Heralds of Heresy tonight. I've got 2 questions, one for Stu and one for Tom. Stu, how do you go about painting your commissions, or army commissions? As in, do you tackle everything at the same time or unit by unit? Cheeky side question, any tips for whole army painting to keeping it consistent? Okay, so yes, I do paint it all in one big batch. And that's how I keep it consistent. So this carries over to my personal painting. I've probably talked about it before as well, so apologies for people that are bored of hearing it, but I will pretty much I'll build everything. It'll all be on the basis ready to go or not, depending on the colour scheme and what's the most efficient way of doing it quickly. And then I will do all of one colour, and I'll do all of the next colour.
Yeah,
so when
load that airbrush up and get it going.
So when I did these word bearers, it was everything was built.
I mean, you'll do all the infantry, all the tanks together,
so
everything.
The prime on everything. It was the grey pre-shade, then it was the white layer of the pre-shade, then it was the base red, and the mid-tone, and then and you literally just go across the whole thing. And some people will find that absolutely mind-numbing.
Yeah.
For me, going back and repeating stages has the same mental block for me, so this works for me. I think in terms of consistency, I think that is the best way of doing it. But what's more important is that you choose a way of doing it that stops you from going mad. So if you can achieve that, then do it, because it is more efficient in terms of time and in terms of consistency.
Yeah.
If the thought of doing it puts you off painting, then for God's sake, don't do it like that.
Yeah, you've got to find what
we understand your mind and your mental your mental strength of those things, and do what works best for you.
I tend to do a unit at a time, but I've got, especially for the Ultramarines, I've got a very set routine.
Yeah.
With I know the recipe, I know what I'm doing, I do it over and over again. But on the same, I will do the 10-man squad, or but then I'll tend to do vehicles together. But then I'm only usually doing 2 or 3 together as well, stuff. But I will do batches, but probably smaller batches than you do.
Yeah, I just hate repeating it. So yeah, that's what I do. The second part of the question is Tom. So Tom, what game system has caught your eye and never pulled the trigger on? And Stu got another question. So what is on your wish list for Heresy? Finally see the Ultras units.
Game systems that I haven't pulled the trigger on, not a lot. I really like the look of Shadespire at the moment. I think it's a great game. I think it's the sort of thing me and you would sit down and play over a couple of beers and have a good time.
Yeah.
Some of the problem at Incom with some of the games is the guys there play them very hard, very quick, and will move on. So I like to take my time, paint stuff up, and learn to play slowly. The Shadespire guys they're on that game system thing where they, it's like constant. Our next unit's out, so I need those cards, and boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, no, I've only played once with the thing I've got. So there's game systems I haven't pulled the trigger on because I just know that I'm not going to keep up with the pace of people playing. I played a game of Bolt Action, almost bought into that. I did buy into it and then sold it off because I just wasn't getting time. Bolt Action's a great game, plays really nicely, really good fun. Just the mechanics of it are sound. It's a really solid game, actually. I want to play X-Wing 2.0. I couldn't keep up with the meta of that.
Yeah.
And the people who were around to play very hard and competitively. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm just not playing at that level to play with them and enjoy the game at that level because I'm just not keeping up. There's about 1,000,001 board games at Incom that I could play. We've done loads of those. Legion I need to get up with. I have half pulled the trigger on that. I bought some models. I've got some units. I bought the 88ST that I wanted to play. It hasn't made it out of the fucking box yet.
Mine is similar. So.
Yeah, so there's tons. There's so. I mean, I could spend £1,000 a week on games to play, but for me, a lot of it is like people to play it with.
Yeah.
There aren't.
Often, like you said, there's often opponents for things, but if they're in a different place.
Yeah.
So for someone that wants to play occasional Heresy at maybe 1,000 Point Centurion, and if the local scene is quite advanced with 3K games and stuff, they might struggle towards get that game. It's the same with, like you said, Underworld, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
I'm just not with it enough.
If you want to play it occasionally, look, the wife and I play Star Wars Destiny dice game, but we play it with the starter decks, and we haven't bought boosters, but it's enough for us to play once a month, take turns, swap decks, and play a game for an hour. Whereas you've played it to a little bit more, you've started to build decks a little bit, and you've got to find an opponent that kind of matches the interest level away from the game, because once you start building stuff, that requires a bit more thought rather than just opening the box and playing with the box as is.
I haven't played Destiny for ages because the guys at the club got really super into it, and you're like buying single cards off eBay and stuff, and I'm like, I'm not playing that much. I can't keep up with you guys, and if I'm playing, you're just smashing my face in, and I'm just like, nah,
At the moment, though, that game is enough for the way I'm playing with them. But I mean, to answer your question as well, because We've both got a bit of AOS, so we
Yeah.
will play that as a bit of a beer and
Yeah,
pretzel
so
kind of thing in the
I
background.
have pulled the trigger on that. I'm into AOS. I really enjoy that. But it's nice because it's a step away from Heresy as well.
Yeah.
Because the
Just
game
needs something to stop the one thing you play becoming a bit stale.
Yeah.
And if it's your main... I think Heresy's always... Well, I'll say always. For the foreseeable future, is going to be my main game.
Yeah.
But I've got a painted AOS army, which will very soon be at 2,000 points once I've finished a big dragon. And it will sit there on the shelf, and I will crack it out every now and then for a bit of a change in pace. And from what I said in the show, you worked out that I've got SBG, so that's Middle Earth Strategy Battle Game Army, which needs to be built and painted. Lord of the Rings is my favourite nerd thing in the world ever. So I was reading Hobbit as a very young, and Lord of the Rings things has become before Heresy does in terms of my nerd favourite things, before Star Wars. So it was silly that I didn't play a game in that system. It won't become as a big a gaming thing for me as Heresy is.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to buy the odd model, paint them, and play the game occasionally. And that's what I've thought. I'll buy and collect and paint a couple of armies so they're sitting on the shelf. So when I want to play games next year, I can. And then I've got the Star Wars Legion like you, and I've got no set date when I'm going to paint it, but I think that'll be how I introduce the lad into playing games, because
rolling
you can
dice
really
and
strip that system back to just because it's
rolling dice.
It's basically, if people haven't looked at the rules, it's very similar to the X-Wing rules in terms of it's opposing dice essentially, isn't it?
And
you could strip all the rules away and just say we'll just
move with the stick, shoot with the stick,
and roll with the dice. So, and it'll be a nice, easy way to kind of get him into gaming. So, and the same will be with X-Wing. I've got the original edition. I will probably get to whatever edition is out when he starts showing interest in it. He loves Star Wars, so for me, those games will be perfect way for me to paint models and build models I like
to get him in
and just get him playing games and stuff. But yeah, that's so. Next question,
Carl. If you had to build an army around a special character, who would it be and why?
I've never really done that. It's not the way my brain works.
Yeah,
really.
I don't generally, but I fucking love Sevatar. I love the model. I love him. If I was just, someone goes, it's 500 quid, go and build an army, I'd do it. I think Sevatar would be the one who got me. I'd be going, I want to do an Atramentar list. I'll do it with Sevatar, and it'd be fucking cool because I love him. And that's just purely because I think he's a fucking wicked. He's wicked in the books, even though he's only in the book. He's hardly in the books at all.
I'd probably go some kind of Shattered Legions list with Garrow and that kind of thing. It'd be very Centurion based, but that's it.
And then Mr. Hickey.
Mr. Hickey. So, how many points should a Voltarax cost? Addendum. How many points is an Arc Blaster worth? I don't even know how many points a Voltarax is.
175 points for a flying monstrous creature. The simple answer is, if they're in your army, about 250 points. If they're in mine, 55. What's an Arc Blaster worth? About 3 Finger Blasts. Fucking Finger Blast your Arc Blaster in a minute. Do you know what? I haven't actually seen that many Voltarax around lately. I know they're good. I haven't seen them around. The only time I really faced my face brains is, and my Derrideo took out all 3. So, I don't know. I haven't played them for ages, but yeah, it's Mechanicum. Everyone just needs all of it's bullshit. All of it's bullshit. Right, that's the Facebook page. What else we got?
Facebook group.
You in the group?
I'm in the group. So, next question, Mr. Winless himself. What is one hobby product you couldn't live without? Paintbrush.
Yeah,
Beat
can't
that
argue
one.
with
Beat that one.
that. I would go bleach to remove the stains.
Okay. You talked about your different hobby.
Oh shit, we're not talking about that.
Your under the patio collection hobby.
I've got to admit, the airbrush revolutionised what I do. Just the ability to get stuff done.
That would be my second.
Yeah.
I can still, I wouldn't want to do tanks and things. I can still paint with a hairy brush without using the airbrush.
Yeah.
Even though I use the airbrush for pretty much every model now.
Yeah.
But if I had to give up one of them, I could still.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You give up the airbrush
with
first. Yeah.
Brush.
So we've covered.
Yeah,
Golden
so
Demon.
Sai is talking about Golden Demon and what our thoughts were.
Yeah.
So we've answered that in our initial rambling crap.
Mr. Robbing, when does Alan's range of merch coming out? Have you considered a Cats of Heresy Interrupt podcast calendar with the Edge of Empire boys and the And the Imperial Truth. Where is the prick? He's asleep in the
I think
beanbag.
he's on the big bag behind you. Yeah. Well,
Look, you're even getting questions directed at you now, mate. You've got no idea what's going on.
he'd want a cut. That's the problem.
He's ruthless business.
And we don't get enough of a cut from the stuff that we sell, or
No.
we don't sell. By the way, we sell t-shirts.
Yeah, there is
we don't release
shit
podcasts,
on.
we sell t-shirts.
There are shits online you can buy. Please buy them. Who's the giver and who's the taker out of you two? That's guess who that's from?
Yeah,
Tom Henry, Table Tom.
He can obviously only conceive relationships within the way he has relationships.
Purely physical. Yeah. That's it. I mean, the man's got the emotional range of a sparrow and the physical lust of a man who's been locked in a cage for 3 years.
He does play Children and Ravenguard.
Yeah. He literally is the emo sex offender.
Yeah. So Pete reads, if money hobby painting was no issue, what would be your ideal heresy force? Would it be out of a Black Library book, or would it be something you make of your own opponent? Systematically remove models from the table. So that would be the second one. Would be definitely what you'd do.
I mean, it's quite hard to put a price on the entire Ultramarines Legion. You know, there's 250,000 Marines. I've got quite a bit of painting to do.
This wouldn't have been heresy related, but something just popped in my head. Didn't you have, wasn't there Outriders that used to work for GW? They called Outriders or something that they were like kind of not staffers, but they would take the hobby to independent game stores or something.
Oh, like community engagement.
Yeah, something like that. I think they were called Outriders. Someone's going to message in and say what it actually was. But I'm pretty sure that between a lot of them, they all painted up the whole Ultramarines chapter.
Oh yeah, that's been done. Yeah, the Ultramarines chapter has been done.
I remember seeing it at a games day.
Yeah, the whole chapters. They used to have it on display in the old Hall of Miniatures.
Right.
There was the entire Ultramarines chapter. Yeah, because that's 1,000 Marines.
Yes, yeah.
Which is what makes
sure
you laugh.
It was those guys that painted it up. But I think for me, I probably said earlier when we were talking about what would I do if I didn't paint for a living and I had loads of time and money, I would just do militia army after militia army from all these different weird worlds and really kind of lose myself in the almost Blanchesque style kind of grim dark background for them. Mr. Cormac.
When the Black Books finally conclude, how do you see your gaming in the heresy community continuing? I'm going to reference back to the SBG community. Mm-hmm. This comment I made to you earlier, their original source material has not been updated for 50 years, 60 years. When did the Lord of the Rings books come out?
I don't know. I should know as a
bloody long. Let's face it, they have had no new content for a long time.
Well, they have. They do. There is new.
No, I mean
there has been a drip feed, but in terms of the core story,
and
there was a new book out recently, but. These are things that are edited by his children.
And also as a community and a wargaming community, they had a period for quite a long time where nothing, the books were the books and it wasn't a supported system. Just because we're getting nothing new doesn't stop us. I mean, okay, we're getting no new content, but the community makes up a lot of the content anyway. The Tarsis saga is 2 years of community-driven content using the core rules as a framework. A lot of the stuff that hangs off Tarsis is the points of interest system the Horus guys did. We had the VoxNet system that the Mournable Events guys did. There's so many things that the community's created. We did a Centurion event which was created by Tim. A game system. Just because Forge World will stop producing stuff doesn't mean we stop playing it.
Yeah.
We'll just continue and we'll do what the community's doing now anyway, and generating our own content and our own ideas and keep going.
I think for me, there's gonna be lots of caveats to how it ends and what ends. We don't know at this stage whether there's going to be 20 black books, 16 black books, or whether they're going to aim for 12 or something like that to try and bring to tie the ending up to not too long after the novel's end. We don't know then when the last black book is released whether they will then find a way of carrying it on. We talked about this a little bit earlier as well. Maybe then they will keep the model range selling. They might bring out a 8th ed 40k version or 9th, whatever edition is out at that point. They could then re-release some the red books to match that, to keep the sales models going. We honestly don't know what the community's going to do. I don't know what I'll be doing. We don't know what our jobs will be in when the books. If we knew the last book was next year, it'd be easier to answer the question. But we honestly don't. It could be another 5 years down the line. It depends whether I'm interested in other game systems and things, and what how big Heresy still is. We weren't playing Heresy to this level 5 years ago, so who knows what we'll be doing. But I'm assuming that I will still be interested, and I'll still want to play narrative games, and I'll just start going back and really going through the stuff that's already there. So I'm not worried about the Heresy books ending, because there's enough Heresy novels there to go back and reread some of these things. I read Lord of the Rings at least once a year, or listen to it now on audiobook. But it's something I always delve back into, and I imagine it will be the same for the Heresy
there's
books as
so
well.
much to explore in there. I mean, there's the for one, there's the what's the Victory of Vengeance sort of kill team set of rules that no one ever touches. Really, we don't really do. There's a whole different way of playing the game there that we would hardly ever touch.
It would be interesting to see
Go and explore
the heavily rumoured studio version of Centurion in the next book, and what that's like, and whether that will be Centurion as in the Eye of Horus style, or whether it will be even more skirmishy.
What they bring in, so
they could have in some ways doing their own official version of what Eye of Horus done is good, but that's already there and already widely accepted by the community. To actually bring out a Heresy conversion to work with Kill Team, but not using the Kill Team rules, but using the Seventh Ed rules.
But using that as inspiration.
That would be awesome as well. So that would be cool. There's so much we could do.
We got tons left to go through with this game.
We have. And
cool. Should we go over to the Instagram?
Yes.
Right. Start with the mediocre modeler. Legion Champions, Paragon Blade, Legantian Axe, best loadout ever. Discuss. I don't think that's right.
You don't think you can take them both?
I don't think you can. I should have probably prepped this earlier. Right, consoles. That's what we need to look at first. Because Legion Centurion... Oh, Christ, it's not even in there, is it? It's in the fucking FAQ.
I was going to say, it's an FAQ thing, isn't it?
I should have done this earlier. There is something that stopped me doing it, like the chaplain. Why does iOS have to update and change the way it puts all your books so you can't find anything? Oh, what are you doing, you absolute jellyband? Heresy books. This is making for top quality radio.
Insert elevator music now.
Right. It just says you may take a Paragon Blade for 20 points for war gear. Now I've got to check something else because that doesn't help me.
Has your performance been letting you down recently? Have your bombs been jettisoned before your mission was complete? Do you find yourself accidentally rolling too early? Has your bag dropped its load before the game? Then Grayed Out Productions have the answer. Michael's handcrafted dice bags are a must-have for any tabletop gamer prone to spilling their pearlescent gaming A's before they're ready. Why not check out Grayed Out Dice Bags on Facebook, at their website at www.gradeoutproductions.com, or find them on Etsy. Grayed Out Productions are the only place where you can get the official Geno52 podcast dice bag, and Geno listeners can get 10% discount by entering Geno52, all in words, at the checkout in the Etsy store. Get control of your load today.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's why you can't do it. To take a Paragon Blade,
a
Legion Champion has to exchange his combat blade or chainsword for a Paragon Blade. To take a Legantian Axe, you've got to exchange your combat blade or chainsword. So you can't take both because you've got to have both.
It's on the wrong weapon stream. So
trust me, George, if there was a way of whacking it, I'd have whacked it. But actually, this is something I've thought about a couple of times. Legantian Axe or Paragon Blade. So Paragon Blade and Legantian Axe, both hitting at initiative, both AP2.
Yeah.
With the Paragon Blade, you're getting instant death on a 6.
Yeah.
With the Legantine Axe, you're getting a 6 to hit, giving you an automatic wound at AP2. So do you trade the automatic wound at AP on hit, which effectively gives you an extra chance to wound? Do you swap that for the possibility of murderous strike?
It would depend on who you're fighting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it does. And they're both exactly the same points, the 20-point options.
So it really would depend on who you're fighting. So you're in that situation
single
where...
wound character, you're going to take the Legantine Axe every time. See, it also depends what you're doing. If you're taking a chaplain with you,
Yeah.
you're going to get a reroll on that chance to hit. So you've got a chance a second chance to turn your misses into extra wounds.
Yeah.
Whereas you don't get a reroll on the wounds with... There's no way to reroll the wound.
Yeah.
Personally, I would go Legantine Axe. Just because I think they're brilliant. But Paragon Blades are still pretty fucking rad.
Yeah, yeah. The auto wound is...
Auto wound is big. When you're throwing out like
that's what I'm
4 or
thinking.
5
So
dice...
you're not going to have no chance of saving that, have you? Is
Yeah,
that
you do.
auto?
You,
It's a normal save. Yeah, yeah.
You just don't. You don't have to roll to wound with it. Any hit automatically
So what's going to...
against generating against a murderous strike on a 6, getting you instant death. Now that instant death does get rid of feel no pain, which is useful to mitigate.
That's what I'm
some
thinking
save.
of, versus the feel no pain versus the...
I don't think either of them is a bad option. Somebody will come back with a mass. Yeah, I suppose the only thing you get the Paragon Blade, you get the Strength +1. That's probably the deciding factor. Means you're going to be wounding on 3s generally more than 4s, and if you take rag grenades, you're going to be wounding on 2s.
Yeah.
Because who doesn't love rag grenades?
So it's going to be Paragon.
I'd probably go Paragon Blade. Yeah. Dave Warden's real Legionnaires wield lascars changed my mind. I'm not going to, Dave. You're absolutely fucking right. Real men take lascars into battle.
And there's just no real men in there.
No, fucking lascars everywhere.
Okay, Dirty Traitor, Malevolence Book 8. What's going to be in the big shiny box released alongside it? Plastic jet bikes, plastic assault marines, Mark 4, Mark 5, and what else? I'm not aware that...
I'm going to put it out there.
There isn't going to be a big
gonna
box. Unless we've missed some major...
Yeah, this is said. With the way GW are nowadays, we might be totally wrong. But before Calf and before Prospero, at this point, we had the rumblings were really strong that we'd be getting them. I don't think there will be another box set. I think we might get small box sets. We might get plastic Mark 5 maybe.
I could see there being one.
But I'm talking like
not
individual
for a few
squad.
years' time.
I'm talking squad boxes, not like a bulk box.
Oh right.
You know what I mean? We might get a box of...
I think he's talking big.
Yeah, he is.
I think there could be one big shiny box in the future.
Maybe a Siege of Terror box.
Yeah, around that time with a board game based around Siege of Terror, looking to pick up the market. It could be close to the Siege of Terror novel. I'm pointing at my iPad.
Which is really useful.
But there could be, you could see that coming around when they were you're getting into that market of the novelists who are the people who are reading those Siege of Terror novels that might not have been Heresy players that might play a boxed game based around Siege of Terror and one combat on there. But I think they've probably got enough other things to do that are making money in the same market.
Yeah.
They weren't doing...
They don't need another
Blackstone Fortresses. They weren't doing Kill Team boxes and stuff when they first released those. And those things seem to have led on to, hang on, we can make money out of these games. And these things now link to 40k, so you get the 40k rules. And they seem like there's more reason to buy those things than those ones. So, now, sadly, probably not happening. And then we've got the
stream of
the Matt Burney section.
The Matt Burney stream of consciousness. Right, I'll start with the first one. Best heavy weapon squad.
What's my favourite? Yeah, I'm going to go what I like the look of. I quite like Volkite. I think they look nice.
Autocannons or Volkites, rule of cool.
Yeah.
Fucking badass.
Rotocannons. Next one is the Charybdis, just a massive ball ache to build, only to be a massive ball ache to paint, followed by being a ball ache on the table, followed by it blowing up. The last bit I don't know about. The first one's, having just built one.
They're fuckers.
I built Fire Raptor afterwards and I enjoyed it. I built the Charybdis first,
and then built the
if
bow.
it wasn't someone else's model, it would have got launched. It really would have. It was so annoying. But yeah, I'm trying to hold together too many parts.
Transporting the motherfuckers. I mean, the only person who's good at...
I've sent one to America and it didn't break.
You want to get Table Tom's girlfriend to wrap it. He brought his down to... When did we play? We played the other day at the club. And he brought his crib just fresh from moving home with it. And yeah, it hadn't have broken. There was half a world's worth of bubble wrap around it, but fuck me, it survived.
Well, yeah, you are always.
But there are many stories of dead Charybdises coming back from Gibraltar and stuff. You know, they are fucking nightmare.
We should mention Mr. Beecher Jones.
Yeah,
I'll be upset if we talk about it.
They are fuckers. I mean, transporting them down to the club is bad enough. How much Disaronno can I make you drink next time, Tom? As much as you bring in, big boy.
As much as you're paying for.
Yeah, as much as you're paying for. That's absolutely fine with me.
Is 10 heavy bolter speeders in a Raven Guard armor list too many? Seriously, I've just bought 10.
Not enough. Buy more.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Why is the Warhound as crap as it is? Because it's 750 points and it can get blown up by 10 dudes with metal guns.
When was it released?
Titans just don't work.
No, but I also think that if it was released now,
the rules would be very different.
The rules would be different, or its points would be more in line with knights. And I'm just thinking, when that model was released and its original rules were written, did we have all the Cerastus knights that we have now?
No,
so I think so. The serious answer to your question is it's just old and it's out of context.
And if you dropped it 200 points, people would go mental. But it needs.
And its rules are the same. Oh, not now. It's a different edition, but its rules were the same for 40k as well. So it's probably why it's not changed much.
Yeah, all three of the Titans are a little bit out of whack with the rest of the game system. Now we're coming to the Tom Henry stream of consciousness. Which is the most boring legion pre and during the heresy?
Well, the easy answer is fists, isn't it?
They just stood around. They just got the brooms and swept up. The Blood Angels, they kind of get stuck in a trap straight away. They manage to get out. They kind of mope around Ultramar, and then they go to the siege and get Sanguinius dies. Well done, mate.
And it's boring.
Dark Angels.
I reckon Word Bearers were pretty boring before the heresy.
Yeah, they were probably
always busy on Sundays.
They weren't a laugh.
Wearing a suit, don't drink too much.
You didn't want to get stuck in the corner of the bar with one of the Lorgos lads. If you could be any,
if you're religious, that was probably a little bit horrible.
If you could be any Pokemon, which one would you be and why?
See, I only know the name of one Pokemon. This question is not for me.
I know one Pokemon as well.
Do we both know the
I'd be a
yellow...
Magikarp.
Magic what?
Magikarp.
Is that a Pokemon?
I don't know. I just heard somebody say it.
You just saying words.
I did used to watch Pokemon when I was a kid. I've stopped now.
I wasn't a kid when Pokemon came out.
I was a little bit too old for Pokemon. I still watched it. Which spammy unit or thing that annoys you? Inducti, Custos, Jet Bikes, Spartan, Death Stars, Augury Scanners. Do you know why those units have all been picked specifically? Because they're all things I fucking ranted to Tom about, and he's ranted to me about. Inducti, personally, are a bugbear for me, because you only ever see 60 of them. They do one thing and one thing only. It doesn't fit the fluff.
Yeah.
You go to an event and there's 5 Garland Seal. It got to the point where I'd play a Word Eaters player, and I would say, have you got Garland Surlac? They go, yes. And I go, okay, don't bother telling me about your army then. What? Yeah. Well, because I can see every dude on the table will be Inducti, and I can work out what the rest of the models are.
It's a spam thing.
And it only plays one way as well. It only works by killing your opponent. They can't score or win the mission any other way. They just run forward at you, and it's just a game of shoot as much as I can until you get to me. So that's quite boring.
So out of the things he's mentioned there, 3 of them are problems with spam.
Yeah.
One of them was just problem with seeing it in every army.
Yeah.
List. So the Spartan, which I don't think you see that as much now anymore.
No.
And then for me, I'd add Artificer armor onto that again when it's spammed.
Yeah, when it's I've got Artificer armor everywhere,
because it leads to an interaction that takes me away from the narrative.
Yeah. And still going. And if you could do one rule change each, however big or small, what would it be?
Limit the amount of artificer armor you can take them that way.
Yeah. I would change the way the cover system works.
People called Stuart can't be seized against.
Yeah. I was talking the difference between the way cover works for vehicles and cover works for other things. So cover works for vehicles. If you are more than 25% obscured, you get the cover save of the piece of the terrain obscuring you. If you are obscured by a piece of terrain as an infantry model, but you're stood in the open, you don't get a cover save. If you are on the piece of terrain, you do.
Yeah.
So that's where the whole, this is 7th Ed 40k stuff, the Wraith Knight towing cover problem comes from, because that's a gargantuan monstrous creature. It was a monstrous jump creature.
Yeah.
It literally just had to touch its toe into cover and was in cover.
Yeah.
Whereas it was a size bigger than a dreadnought. The dreadnought, if it was stood in terrain, but it was in the open, say, like a hollowed out bit of a building, it would get no cover save because it wasn't 25% good.
Yeah.
So the cover rules really
and
don't
this
work.
is always the problem
Yeah.
when you have abstract rules that work on abstract
Yeah.
in a game that has true fucking line of sight.
Yeah.
So you either have one or the other.
Yeah,
You either have
so-
volumes and abstract rules completely.
Cover doesn't work because you have to. I mean, I just say, look, this is the way the rule is. Everybody, you just play it. You just work to the way it works. But I don't like the cover system because it works so nicely in other games. Every model is. Are you 25% or 50% obscured? Yep, fine, I can do that. Which Primarch is the most shit? Rules and fluff. Korax and Fulgrim, they're both wankers.
Oh yeah, deserve that.
Actually, when I did the maths, I was talking to Iron Hand Dunk at the club, and Ferrus is really far behind. Ferrus, there's a reason you never see Ferrus on the table, and it's not because he got his loptide off. And finally, can I have your autographs? Yes, I'll sign your tits. That's the
Only
first
if I
thing
can sign your whatever choice of Charles wallpaper you've got in your
That's
house.
the first thing he ever said to me. That I walked up to him in London Stansted Airport when we were flying out to Gibraltar. He went, "Are you from the Geno 52?" And I went, "Yeah." He went, "Will you sign my tits?" Yep, never met him before. Thus ends that stream of consciousness.
Gunnersbury, what specific stories do you think want the 8 books from the Siege of Terra mini-series to cover? I'll be brutally honest with you. I think we know the key things that are going to be covered.
Spaceport, the Vengeful Spirit.
Yeah. So other than that,
The Emperor's Children. There's a really good bit.
I don't think I have a wish list. I think I know the things that are going to be covered, and I trust them to do a bloody good job of telling. I don't really have any kind of wish list because I think that wish list is just nailed on. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I think it's going to be good. It's going to be good. Is that Bernie back again for another question?
You've missed one then.
Oh no, we got one more. Alia Raza?
Yeah.
I'll go with that.
Alia _ Raza. Yeah.
What needs to change in the Arcus and the Omega when they get book release to make one less shit and one less OP? The Omega needs more range on the guns. It's too short range. Apart from that, it's pretty damn good because I know when Kurt's managed to hit things with his getting range and hit, it does damage when it does it. It's just you've got to get so bloody close with the tank, which you don't want to do. And actually, I don't think the Arcus is that bad. Having played with mine a couple of times and played against them, yes, they put out a lot of damage. Yes, they're really tough against aircraft. They're still only a Sakaran chassis. If you can kill a battle tank, or you can kill a Venator, or you can kill it still goes down the same.
It's just a choice of the Arcus is probably more all round. It'll do more.
Out of the
it's
three
more
variants,
of a multi-tool.
Yeah.
So that's why you're seeing more of them.
Yeah. Out of the 3 variants, it's the good one. I don't think you might argue a 10-15 point edition.
So the only way to do it is points, isn't it?
But it's not. I don't think it needs anything changed, and I don't think they're that bad. I think
it's not
the
breaking
fact
the
you
game.
can't
It's
take-
just offering you an alternative to other really, really good
the
units.
good
anyway.
thing is because you can't take it in a squadron. If you could take them into a squadron of 2 or 3, then it would be a real pain because you'd have. If you're going to take 2 or 3, you're filling up your heavy support slots, which are already highly competitive. So
that would be nasty.
Yeah.
So
And then it's Bernie again. Mark II Marine is best Marine. Discuss. How much Di Serrano had he been drinking by those?
It gets later and later through the night.
Mark II's a fucking.
I love them,
sexy.
and if money wasn't an object, and the fact that they're now a bit small scale compared to some of the
Plastic
plastics
Mark II's would sell by the bucket load. Plastic Mark II Assault Marines would just I'd just print money.
I hope if there's ever a financially viable reason for making them in plastic for any reason,
I'd like them to do Mark
I'd
2
love
because if we start going Mark 5 and onwards,
But if they do it,
you're getting into kits we've already got in 40k. So Mark 2.
well, no, they won't have them for 40k anymore because it'll only be Primaris. So actually, by the time they can release them, it'll work. But
Mark 2, 3, and 4, I think, give you the heresy look, if that makes sense. They're far enough away from what we've got in other ranges that clearly says heresy. So yeah, Mark 2. Top 5 best and worst Legion units for the Alpha Legion to steal. I'll tell you what I've seen: Iron Havocs, Siege Tyrants, Suzerain, Varagir Terminators, and that's about it. Those are what you see being stolen.
so what would be bad for them to do? Templar Brethren. Yeah, take them.
You could almost rewrite that question to top 5 best and worst Legion-specific units.
Yes.
Templar Brethren, Phalanx Warders, Phoenix Terminators, Palatine Blades, and Headhunters.
Yeah.
I can't really steal Headhunters, so they're Alpha Legion's own ones.
Templar Brethren aren't too bad.
I really don't rate them more Dathan. They do their one-trick pony thing, and then I'm not that bothered by them. What's the Dark Furies? They're not great for their points. When we compare them up against other units, they don't stack up. But yeah, that would probably be what I'd go with.
Yeah. I think we're done. Well, thank you, everyone who took the time to ask us a question. Thank you, extra special. Thank you to Mr. Burney and
Mr. Henry,
for most of those questions at the second half there.
But yeah, no, thank you guys. If you've ever got questions, just send them in to us. We'll always, we've said before, if you've got a big question and it needs an answer, we'll answer if we're not recording soon. If not, we'll stick it in the show notes and it gives us more free content and we don't have to think about stuff.
Lord Marshal Great, sir. Legion reinforcements now visible on the left flank.
About time. The wolves, I see.
No, sir. Ultramarines, sir.
But they're wearing grey, Proclamator Fennec.
Vox message said new recruits, sir. No time to paint armour.
At least the Raven Guard are in black armour.
Sorry, sir. That's more Ultramarines.
For Emperor's sake, fox them and find out why.
Also new armour, sir. Their eye lenses are red and the bolt guns are silver. 3 colours minimum, sir.
What the? Get on the Vox now and tell them to contact Miniature Realm Studio.
Miniature Realm Studio, sir.
Yes, Fennec. Miniature Realm Studio offers a commission painting service, competitive rates, and a range of painting standards to suit most budgets and requirements.
Yes, sir. I suppose they do say that fully painted is for closers.
What does that even mean, Fennec?
I don't know, sir.
Miniature Realms Studio can be found on Facebook, on Twitter at Miniature Realms, on Instagram at Miniature Realms Studio, or just drop Stuart an email at miniatureelstudio@gmail.com.
Boom chicka wow wow. Yes, we're back for the final close down.
The final close down.
It's the final countdown.
It's not the final close down. We will do more close downs. That either means we're not doing any more shows, or the next show we do will never end.
No, it's never going to end. I'm just going to live stream constantly. We're back. We're recording. We've got another plan for Christmas soon. So there's going to be a drunken Christmas sode soon. So if you've got events coming up, stuff you want shouting out, send us a message. We are back to recording at a fairly regular pace now. So, if you want stuff. We always do say share shit into the Facebook group as well. That's always a good place. That gets stuff out much quicker than we do. We've got one little shout out. There's a new Horus Heresy Norfolk group. So if you're over in the Fens and don't want to marry your cousin and like to play toy soldiers, go check out Horus Heresy Norfolk.
It's a Facebook group we should add there.
Yeah, I probably would give some context.
I'm sure it links to a gaming group, but I think it's
they're
I think it's a Facebook group trying to pull together Norfolk Norfolk gamers.
Yeah, so go and jump in there if you're in the Norfolk area or that side of the country. there's a few. I think Mark Frost from Frost Studios involved. Sam Osborne, who we've chatted to a few times,
who owns a Death Guard army.
He owns a lovely Death Guard army that you've just painted. Yeah, he really needs someone to play against to justify spending.
Then they've got
money.
a good scene over there, by the sounds of things.
Yeah, they've got a good scene over there. I think it's a little bit disparate. I think it's quite spread out over there.
They run the events in Norwich and things, though, don't they? So no.
Yeah, they've had a couple of events over there. I don't know if the events are going to continue. But yeah, so there's Horus Heresy Norfolk. Go and check that out. So yeah, anything you want to shout out, give us a shout. Anything else?
No.
Is it my turn to pick the music?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Oh, good.
You passed it off last episode.
Oh,
you were too scared of the peer
that's because
pressure.
I did I put Naked on the last one, and people think I'm a weirdo. Oh, trust me, I found something even better for this show. Yeah, so we'll take it easy, guys, and we'll leave you with some lovely music.
Lovely. Caveat, maybe not. Take care, guys. See you soon.
Charlie and I were in the park. Then this man came up and said, "Would I like to see some puppies?" And I said yes. We went and told Mummy, and she said...
Whatever. Robo Christ! It's fucking music shit off a stick!
That was the equivalent of musical food poisoning.